People of Earth, how are you? It's the second installment of the Be Kind, Please Rewind from DOD 45. This time we're going back with Doseone, whose album Alpha 2 drops November 11th.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD 45.
This is the DOD 45 podcast, drawing over discussions 45 minutes with a special guest. Welcome. I'm your host and resident artist, Ty of Art by Ty, and with my co-host, Adrian Taiwali'i, we're having conversations with people who I admire and am inspired by. On this episode, I'll set a 45-minute timer, put my pen to the paper, and we'll learn about our guest through an interview-style discussion. So stay right here with us to experience some laughs and maybe even learn a thing or two.
DOD 45.
Okay, so yeah, it's another episode, another Be Kind, Please Rewind episode where we want to take you back to an old episode with no further discussion or anything. It's just the episode that played. So this is part 2 of it because we are still on the road. We're still traveling. New episodes will start up following this episode. All right. Well, I remember Doseone being incredibly knowledgeable about all things hip hop, rap music. What do you remember about the Doseone episode?
That he was just so smart and seemed to have been everywhere and known everybody at the right moment.
He did seem to know everybody. I have many favorite moments from the episode, but I really like when he tells the story of when he first met Dibs. So it's there's a lot to learn from the episode. I was talking to Dibs on the phone the other day, and I said, and I was just saying, I for some reason, I don't know, Doseone's been on my mind a lot lately. It's kind of like my favorite person for some reason. I don't know, his voice and everything about him. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's like he'll just pop into my head, and I'm thinking like, oh, Doseone's. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I explained enough. You should enjoy this episode. Part 2 of our Be Kind, Please Rewind. New episodes will be starting next week.
DOD 45.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of DOD 45. I'm Ty of Art by Ty, and I'm really happy that you're joining us today. And I think you're going to be happy that you joined us as well, because today we have on Doseone. AKA, I don't know, Dose, maybe Dose for short. Before we start, I want to clear up something real quick that I said during my comment in the Qbert intro. A comment that I made during the Qbert intro.
What'd you say?
Nothing bad. It's been kind of driving me nuts. I had just mentioned how I don't know anything about the people that we talked to. You know, it was kind of that discussion about how we don't look into what, because of how we listened to music back in the day. We didn't have the internet, so we didn't know anything about the artists that we listened to. That part is still true. Something about what I had said was driving me nuts. I wanted to say this. There are creators, and then there are creator appreciators, and one doesn't thrive without the other. So I tend to use most of my time as a creator. So I don't get a whole lot of information or the ins and outs of other artists, but it doesn't mean I don't appreciate the music to the fullest.
Are you really worried about that?
I'm not, but it's been kind of, I wanted to elaborate it on a little further. I don't know. I guess I'm not worried about it, but I was, I've been editing I just saw that episode. Oh, shit, I don't know.
Well, I kind of know what you're saying. I have a whole bunch of artists on my playlist on Spotify. Not shout out to Spotify, but you can sponsor us if you want to. And I don't know anything about these people. I actually, when I was just kind of searching through Doseone, I noticed a name. What is his name? Odd Nosdom. Odd Nos. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have one of this person's cool songs on my playlist.
Oh,
and
you
I
do, really?
only-
From what? From just kind of like
Just-
stumbling on it?
Yeah. But anyway, they were connected on Wikipedia or something. I was like, oh, so I clicked on that dude, producer guy. And I was like, oh, he's like old. Because everybody everybody who I've been listening to recently has got to be in their mid-20s or younger.
He's older.
He's older than the people I've been listening to. And because I see the pictures on their icon.
Yeah.
And to me, they look 16. I'm like, dang, Cave Town, you're like a baby.
You said in our discussion with Yoni Wolf, you said that Remy Wolf was 16.
That's what I'm saying. So when I see that this guy,
He's my age.
Odd Nostrum, is born in like the 70s, I'm like, dang, you're old, dude.
Well, now these days,
He's
kids
not.
can say you're from the 1900s.
He's not old. It's just that
I know what you're saying.
Have been listening to youngsters.
Well, you got youngsters, so you tend to listen to their music.
But
I guess.
sorry, did I just scream at you? To your point, though, I don't know anything about these people I listen to.
Yeah. Well, and I don't either, and so that's why I was saying this show is an attempt at bridging that gap for me. I don't necessarily need to know everything about them to appreciate their music more. What I think I'm getting at is by getting to know a little bit more about them, that may have a positive effect on my own artwork and my own existence. So that was something that I wanted to clear up. I also wanted to say, I am... Got to change it. Let's close that because I'm getting this shadow on my drawing. I really enjoy doing these with you. Don't roll your eyes. That's still your style, though. But I don't know if the audience likes it or not.
I hate it.
I don't really care. I enjoy it. Is there a term I christen it to, or I liken it to? Shit, I don't know where that came from.
Are you a priest?
I liken it to, like when like married couples will go do like take cooking classes together.
Oh my God.
Or dance classes
I'm
together.
out. Sorry, guys.
Isn't that funny?
Next
Look at how pissed off she gets. No, I'm saying I enjoy this. I enjoy talking with you before we lead up to speaking with the guests, and then I enjoy talking with you after. So I probably just ruined it now.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, that'll give you some insight
To how fun of a person I am in real life.
Yeah, I wanted to put that out there because I really do. I'm liking it. So here's the thing about Doseone. The amount of music that he has out there is astonishing. It's wild. So here's a couple of his collabs that you should check out. Subtle.
When last we left him, our hero, yes, was recently diagnosed and last cover up.
He's also a member of cLOUDDEAD.
English was
The Velvet Ant,
the cow on
Slanted Land,
settles to
And he's also in Themselves.
An unsuspecting solid blocks of a future rock, apparently poor with apologetic, and can I please go see the nurse right before my eyes? Huh?
He also did some collaborations with they call it 13 and God.
somewhere between motivated and cold. You on the ledge of all 241 ways to be you, basing.
That's Themselves and the Nitwits. That's a German indie rock band. He also is in Nevermen.
Who stole the plug from the pitching the blues? Was it me? Couldn't be. Not you, then who?
That's himself, Mike Patton, who is the lead singer of Faith No More. And then Tunde.
He's got to be old.
I don't know how to pronounce Tunde's name, but he's the
Not
lead
Tondo.
singer of... No, he's the lead singer of TV on the radio. So those three do a collaboration called Nevermen. And then, of course, he's in Deep Puddle Dynamics.
I come to you with one heart broken in two. Now
He's done some projects with Aesop Rock.
This is not your ordinary ballad with a perfect middle bow around the middle and a black note on a white house or a white metal.
And he's somebody that you should take note of. You should have taken note of a long time ago. I do want to I know I just went through a whole list that gets kind of boring, but I'm just going to name just these few songs that I really like. Anebi Kurz, he did as Subtle. Soft Atlas, that's 13 and God. Voided Out, that's a dude named Baku, I think, and Doseone. The Velvet Ant, that's him as cLOUDDEAD. And then finally, DogHawk.
Alone at a pit with a single wolf, at least sort of accepted as hoofs and a beak, but it barks at the dark that's in front of us, so I know it to be doggish in part, wondrous, whatever the fuck it is. And we sat by the unwell at one point.
And that's a song that's on an album that he did with Alias, who died in 2018. Alias is also a past Anacon member, Anacon founder probably. But Alias passed away from a heart attack in 2018 at the age of 41. So R.I.P. to Alias. But DogHawk, the reason I bring up DogHawk, I love the song, but that's what I'm drawing today, is a DogHawk.
I see a cat.
Well, Doseone has a lot of cats. Well, I think he has a few cats, but this is a drawing of his cat that I came up with too. That's going to be sitting on the back of DogHawk. So I just wanted to say this. I have always enjoyed Doseone's music, but mostly via his participation in the groups. I never really knew his solo work. DogHawk, though, is the track that cemented my adoration, my really enjoying of him and his music. I am very aware that his music is not for everyone initially, but I challenge anyone to go listen to DogHawk while you read the lyrics. And I say that because, like, my art isn't for everyone either, but when people are willing to look at it a little deeper, it sparks some intrigue. The intrigue leads to appreciation. The appreciation eventually leads to a level of understanding and then enlightenment. So I'm saying, look a little deeper. I'm rambling. Dose is a creative. He's a creative person with the power of enlightenment at his fingertips. And if you're willing, your ingestion of his art may lead you to some sort of enlightenment. What do you think of that? You bored out? Did I put you to sleep? Well, the start of this episode's gone great. I paid you a compliment.
Never do that.
And then I went on this long diatribe of why I think you should check out Doseone. Point is, I'm drawing a DogHawk for him today. And I think if you go listen to that song and just read through the lyrics while you're listening to it, I think you'll be moved. So that's that.
Speaking of DogHawks.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to transition this into the environment.
Oh, did you want to talk about something about the
No,
environment?
I just saw a headline I just saw a thing that said Patagonia made about $10 million on Black Friday, and they're donating every cent to environmental, to climate change, to fight climate change.
I guess they're making attempts.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they
save the DogHawks. They're trying to save all the DogHawks out there.
Yeah.
And the
isn't there some sort of controversy though with Patagonia? Didn't they do something that was not great?
Them and North Face and all of those expensive brands, they use the stuff in the pans, Teflon.
Oh, Teflon.
So I think they could do better than that.
They got enough money. Shouldn't they be looking into something else now?
They should be inventing new things, but I don't know.
Oh, you know what else I should probably get off my chest?
Uh-oh, what'd you do?
I maybe lost a little sleep last night about from our discussion with Blockhead.
Uh-oh, why? What was
I don't know. I expressed a lot more of my opinion than I normally do. And I don't really care what people think of me, but I based on the way I was raised, I'm very much I don't want to Well, shit. I was always just taught to like respect others, treat others how you would want to be treated. So I can't shake that. It doesn't matter. I'm
Well, what
much.
do you regret saying?
I don't regret saying anything. It was definitely one of those times where, but I don't mind.
Hey, yeah, I was up thinking about the fact that Rick Rubin might be a kidnapper. He might be the next Elizabeth Smart kidnapper.
Well, the funniest part is the people we were talking about, they're never, ever going to hear like what I had to say. But I don't care about them. They're public figures. It's mostly to do with like people who appreciate my artwork. You know, I'm appreciative of them. But yeah.
Like the vaccines.
No, I don't care about that either. That's, my position is fucking get vaccinated. That's my position. If you choose not to, that's your choice and whatever. But I don't mind that conversation. I just was I really laid into M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, it's M. Night Shyamalan who's keeping you up.
No, it was that, and then I had some comments about Joe Rogan that I wasn't really good to. I wasn't able to really articulate. I'm not good at articulating my opinions, so that's why I usually avoid them. I just put them down onto paper because I'm way better at that.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't keep me up all night, but I was
makes you
up.
feel better. I do feel bad. What if Rick Rubin's onto something? Maybe I should stop wearing shoes.
I ran into. When we went to the friends. Well, I better stop rambling. We
have friends.
People remember when we went with the friends out in Idaho. We went and spent the weekend with them.
We have a couple of friends.
They remember the time when it was like after a breakup, and I like grew out some dreadlocks, and I was like walking around barefooted and with like burning incense, and I would like purify people with the.
You're like a teenager.
I was like
go through those things.
I was like 17 or 16, but I remember those, and I've always hoped that no one remembers that, but they brought it up, and I was kind of like,
you recorded yourself doing that stuff, so.
Well, another friend of ours who listens to the episodes, I know he does. He's real busy. He's got a busy life.
People listen to this?
Well,
I only signed on thinking no one was going to hear it.
Oh, well, there's a person that listens often, and I have him in mind when I'm thinking about stuff and when I'm talking about stuff, and that's our buddy Joel. He tries to listen when he can. I don't ever expect any friends of ours, personal friends, to listen to the show, because why would they? They can just have a conversation with us. Yeah, absolutely. But there was one time when I first came back from Samoa. I think I was like 16 or 17, and I was talking. I remember we had a party at my mom's house, and this was I just said how old I was, but I was talking like I was doing like a Bob Marley accent or some shit.
You were rustified?
Yeah, I was kind of like doing this because when I was in Samoa, like Bob, that was it. I was like all we listened to was Bob Marley and UB40. But I came back and I was like all of a sudden like way Islander.
Give us an example.
I'm trying to think of what it sounds like. I have nightmares of it because I'm thinking, because I was like having this long conversation with Joel. I remember this when we were kids, when we were 16, 17. And he was listening, and I was wondering if he was sitting there thinking like, what the fuck is this guy?
Wait, don't Ozzy Osbourne kids do that? Or do they have real accents?
Well, look, here we go. We're going to talk shit about people again.
No, I'm not talking shit, but
they
do
speak, they have British accents, but what people say about them is they have lived in the United States their whole lives. And so they're always like, why would they have a British accent? They really turned up their British accent for that TV show.
Reality show.
Yeah.
Well, it is interesting because like sometimes wherever we are, we'll catch an accent somewhere. Like when Nale was little, she used to, when we were down south for a while, she'd get some, let's go to the fire. Like she had a little bit of, what do you call that? A little twang. Southern
drawl.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when I hang, like when we're around my Samoan side of the family, I tend to get like a fobby accent. I guess I don't know. It's just probably what we do, and it's a feel comfortable in the environment we're in.
Well, I talk, which I never do. I mean,
When you
I've
get
been talking
uncomfortable?
in this, when I have to be in a social environment, I try to, because I am not antisocial, but I'm not comfortable. So I think people think I'm so like bitchy. So I'll talk instead. And then that's what keeps me up, because then I'm like, what did I say? I overtalked. I said stuff just to say stuff,
Yeah. No, I know that, because sometimes when I'm editing the podcast, I see myself when I can't quite get what I'm trying to say. I just talk, and sometimes. Well, speaking of talking, we just talked forever, and it looks like Doseone is here. Are you re-recording, by the way? I'm sorry. That's not going to be that's going to give me a.
Well, let's take a quick
PTSD.
break and hear what the sponsor has to say.
Let's take a quick break and hear about my art, and then we'll be back with Doseone.
DOD 45.
Hob Sauce! Amplify the flavor of your favorite foods with Hob Sauce's award-winning flavors. Create your own 4-pack at hobsauces.com. Not only do they make dope hot sauce, they collaborate with dope artists for their labels and flavors, including myself, Atmosphere, Aesop Rock, Crayola, Rob Sonic, and so many more. We love Hob Sauce over here at DOD 45 and damn near put it on everything we eat. We got extra bottles in the car, Adrian has one in her purse, I have an emergency bottle in my backpack, and if you're ever running out, we always have a bottle available of the garlic turmeric, which I did the octopus label for, here at my gallery in Hannibal, Missouri. Hit it, Bobby.
Have sauce, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Put it on your food.
Hot sauce!
Hello everyone, and welcome to the world. My name is Tony, and I have a podcast too. I know what you're saying. I already know. Okay, but I have a podcast too. Just like you, just like your grandma, just like your grandma's neighbor. We all have podcasts, except mine is different. I'm different. I was born different. The Speaker Face podcast is fun. It will teach you probably nothing. You cannot smell it, and you definitely can taste it. Speaker Face podcast by me, AWOL1, and I talk to my friends, I talk to musicians, artists, all kinds of creative people, all kinds of human beings. I do like little songs and little freestyles and skits. And so after you're done listening to DOD 45 with my man Ty, which is a very, 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 very interesting podcast that you should religiously watch and listen to. After you're done, check out speakerface.store for the Speakerface podcast. And you could also listen to it wherever other podcasts are podcasting. You know what I'm saying? So check it out, Speakerface podcast. Your life will be better. I don't promise. Speaker Face Podcast.
Here's a little story that must be told. Hey, we are stoked to be starting a relationship with Brim of the World and look forward to building on our partnership with them in the future. Listen, I almost never go without a hat, so hooking up with Brim of the World was a no-brainer. As far as your situation goes, you know your head is looking pretty chump these days, and it's time to throw some headgear on there. And I'm not talking braces headgear, I'm talking about hats. And Bot World, aka Brim of the World, has a treasure trove of headwear to pick from, so check them out at brimoftheworld.com. And also check out their SCD collection. SCD is Seek, Conquer, Destroy, and it's their action sports brand. Seek wisdom to conquer all obstacles and destroy anything that tries to stand in your way for success. Also check out their Aliens Built Earth clothing line. Super dope clothing line. I rock their hoodies and shirts all the damn time. Aliens Built Earth was born with the notion and belief that aliens built Earth, You'll find some type of clothing or headwear from these cats on me at almost all times, and that was before DOD 45 partnered with them. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Head over to brimoftheworld.com and start building your wardrobe now. And I just noticed they're offering free shipping in the US. So, I mean, really, can you beat that? No, you cannot. Hey, it's me, Ty, just popping on real quick to let you know that my art is available for purchase at artbyty.com. So if you like what you're seeing or you want to support this podcast, the best way for you to do that is by picking up a print or an original on my website. If you're not quite ready for a purchase, but you still want to help out, go ahead and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you stream from. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll never miss an episode. All right, enough of all that. Now let's get back to the show.
D45.
Hello.
Hello.
You hear us?
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm good.
Well, thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
It's my absolute pleasure.
You got like a halo, behind.
I know. Check that out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very artistic.
Slice of life. This is how I do all my things.
That's awesome, man. Really. Thanks for joining us today. It's really a pleasure to have you on.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Well,
I'm a fan.
Thank you. I wanted to say, so usually when we get started, I like to just have a quick little conversation about some things before I start the timer and start doing your drawing. We were just talking about DogHawk, by the way, in the intro leading up to this. I was explaining how it's probably the song that cemented my appreciation of you as a solo artist, because I was discussing how I mostly came across you through all the different collaborations and groups that you've been in.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't listen to it, I just didn't know a lot of just solo, just Doseone stuff. But yeah, DogHawk was like, I would go through and read the lyrics while I was listening to it, and like, man, it's a fucking moving track. So
yeah, it was that. Well, it's weird, I don't have there's not a. Is my mic too hot?
No.
Okay, good. It's too hot.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of everything's solo Dose, but I did the Boom Bip record, and then Dose was always, besides Hemispheres, my first record. It was like my side project because I have a group problem. No, but I love it. That's what I want. So, my talents were always. I didn't really have a ton, but I have this sponge talent. So the more people I was around, I would watch Jeff, and I would watch all these Gel and Dax and all these self-taught people. And so like bringing those people into my life is what gave me more than confidence, actually, like ability. So that's why I was always so slutty and being in all these groups,
You feed well off of creative energy.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting though, I put my whole life, that was all I did was attune to other people and arts. And then I cold called a lot of people, that's how Anacon started. We were just fans. So
yeah,
tape trading people, compelled to it's almost like we, each of us in our own right saw a gap in rap that we could fill. And we were like, not trying too hard to do it, but coming to us naturally, but learning at the same time. And that was kind of how we found each other and aligned. And then we were all filling our own gap, and those gaps happened to overlap pretty
well. That gap that you filled ended up blowing up into like a whole fucking amazing, inspired whole swaths of like MCs that are now, or people in the business now that were heavily inspired by that. Were you guys? I mean, obviously, you guys probably you weren't aware of that at the time, but
no, I think there was like a couple things that we did, not by device or action, but like we just sort of like started the snowball down the mountain. Everyone else actually did all this, but it was enabling home recording rap. Because that was what we were at the beginning of the generation of. There was like these horrible things called digital 8-tracks and mini disc recorders. They were atrocious trash stuff that preceded the computer. Prior to that, it was 4 tracks and shit. But, nobody was releasing, unless you're guided by voices, which is not rap. No one was really releasing 4-track music.
Right.
There's still a bit, but and then that kind of just enabled all these people, because I think they could hear the fingerprint and like the lack of quality, and it was a good thing. And then being self-taught and sort of early internet days, being public about that, being accessible when we get met at shows, it just started I think a bit of a humanizing rap. When I got into rap, it was like 200% posture. And you had to pass all these tests to like get in the door without getting punched. And then you had to express your talent or make a pal, or you know what I mean? And so, so it was like, I think that was a big thing. And then also we were on the brink of indie records. So like before us, there was of course Warp and Matador and things like this that, really blew the spot up. But when we got started, there was all these indie labels. And so we could actually put our music out without it being judged or approved by the looky-loos that were in place. And at the time, like when we started and I sent Hemispheres out, and Soul had the same problem with his earliest work, you could send it to distributors. So there was Fat Beats and TRC.
Yeah.
That, no shade, but cats like that should never have been gatekeeping. You're a fucking record distributor. Like, we don't know what you like. You could like Wham for all we know, and so don't come at my music. But the reality is they were just like, this isn't hip hop. It's weird stuff, and that's Hemispheres, which is like, I'm still like modeling my voice. I'm like tense, it's not even the wild side yet. So it's pretty interesting, but that was the beginning. And then when we formed, Anticon started doing distributing, we could get past that. Yeah. And then lo and behold, I think the people that liked us first are the same people that were turned on by stuff like Dr. Octagon and and then
now I didn't even think of that. Was Dr. Octagon circulating, I guess, before?
Dr. Octagon was like, so Dr. Octagon was huge. That was on Moax, and that was one of the first indie records. That and Introducing are like, I don't even know. They're like the Thriller of fucking early indie music. That record was, you couldn't go in the dorm room or a fucking squat or a house and they don't have Introducing. And Octagon was something else, let a lot of people in, but more than anything, oh man, I could talk about Kool Keith forever. Kool Keith is the greatest.
I think maybe you posted, someone had said something great about Kool Keith, and now I can't remember what I saw. So I don't know what this is what I'll do. You'll discover is I'll bring something up, and my brain won't allow me to get there, and then I just fucking bail on it.
Yeah, same. I swear I have it, and then I don't. It's like soap in a cartoon, and I think so for me, Keith, super iconic, best to ever do it in certain ways, and like only Doom, someone to be incredibly significant in their first incarnation and then to come back and fucking change game. Yeah. Dude, it's hard enough to be a career artist. There's just not many. There's like Werner Herzog, David Lynch, and I don't know, Bowie went out. Well, like there's not many people, especially not a lot of rappers. We're still in the early years. They don't make it for a long career. Something happens. The music gets saccharine, shadow of itself, but those cats undid all of that. Came back, redefined everything. So Octagon really started like, it was just undeniably good rap, but it was not posturing. It was weird. Right. Talking about bees on your rectum and PP5 doo-doo.
PP5 hoodie.
Do you remember what year that Dr. Octagon? Kool Keith came out as Dr. Octagon? Because I'm trying to think it's early 2000s, but then I'm like, it couldn't have been that.
No, that was the reissue. So the original was out, let's see, before I was in college. So
98?
Right at the beginning. Maybe it's 99, 98.
No.
Yeah. And then...
I forgot Why
Actually, it's
completely?
earlier than that.
It's
I'm
gotta
sorry.
be.
Yeah, that's what it
It's
must. maybe it's-
96.
I can Google
Yeah,
it.
because I.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're sitting right in front. Well, yeah, I forgot. Even when we booked Cuber, I fucking forgot that Cuber did all the scratching on that album.
Yeah.
I know, and I like before we were gonna talk to him, I was like just trying to look at some other shit that maybe I would know him from. I mean, I had Wave Twisters early, so I was way into him. But then I saw him, I was like, "Are you kidding me? I don't know why I didn't remember that. I don't know. I just went over my head, but it doesn't matter." That album's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good. I have a really good Qbert story that's super short.
Let's hear it.
I've met Qbert a bunch, but always like on the side of a stage, and somebody's like, "Dose, this is Qbert, Qbert, this is Dose." And then I'm like, "I know Dibs." And he's like, "I love Dibs," right? We did that maybe 5 or 6 times. And then I'm playing a festival in France with Subtle, and he's headlining. And the promoter's like, "You should rap freestyle at the beginning of Qbert's set." I was like, "Oh, I'd love to." So he brings me up, and I introduce myself to Qbert, and I'm like, "Yo, man, we met a few times. I'm Dose from the day." Yeah. He's like, "Cool." And then they're like, "All right, you're on." So Qbert goes on stage, and he goes, "All right, everybody, this French guy's going to rap for you." So that's the whole story.
What bay did he think you were from?
Yeah, he was from French Bay.
French. Bonsoir. Yeah, and but Octagon, and so, and then I don't believe in the term true school, but like true school fans of what we are were a part of it growing into us. So that means people that were into Blowed, legends at the time, just, indie rap that was pushing boundaries, because that was what we were a part of. Circus and Radios, Shapeshifters, Buck 65, it was a cool era to be a part of, I gotta say.
Yeah. Do you find it surprising? I mean, it's not surprising, but it's kind of awesome. But like the vinyl reissue of the Deep Puddle Dynamics is like, I don't know. It's like it might have closed by now, but the campaign was like 500% funded or even more. But like, is that surprising to you at all? Or the reason I say that is because all these people who discovered that your music at that time, that's who I imagine is buying the reissue of this vinyl.
Yeah, maybe some new people with money in their pockets, but I think you're right. And I think, first of all, I just want to say, shout out to B. Dolan for organizing that.
He was pushing. Yeah.
Oh,
was he the first one that would start? Was he the one that put the whole thing together then?
Yeah, it's the B stands for beautiful. So Beautiful Bernard and myself have been there for the Whitney family, super close to Bren. Sadly, it was Bren's passing that allowed Bernard and I to be like, "Hey, you're good people." So he has been doing a lot for them, and this was a leg of that. So one of those steps was just getting every Alias master on the Bandcamp, all that money going to the family. No middlemen, nothing like that. And SFR and the people there, Sage as well, have enabled that going smooth, nobody taking a cut, just making it so that music is there forever and going to the right place. So this was another function of that through the Bandcamp thing, which is pretty easy. If it would have been a bummer if 80 people pre-ordered it, it wouldn't have gone, but in this instance it was like pretty painless. Everyone just has to wait 9 months like a human baby with the new record press times.
Seems like waiting is what we do now. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. But
a
project of that stature is like, at least for me, I'm like, I don't fucking care when it comes. If it comes in 3 years, I'm like, and actually, I think I would say 98% of the people who put in on that are obviously want to get the vinyl, but
they didn't have it probably, this will be the first time they've had it. So they're all about like, okay, I'll take it, and
that's just a bonus though. Like putting in on something that moved your life. Like, 'cause for me, I was talking to Soul about this, but like that album, Anacon, everything like fucking changed my whole view of of hip hop. I was heavy into fucking NWA. You know, I was doing gangster rap to the fullest. But like when all that music came out that you guys were making, like it just changed the whole landscape, and it was way more my speed. I've been an artist my whole life. Like I tried to do the gangbanging thing. That sucked. It was fucking miserable.
Yeah. There's no space for anything except what flashes in that gang, in like the slim parameters of what gangbanging is. You know, it was the same for fist fighting in Philly. That's how I got to battle rapping. It wasn't like I was like, I don't want to fight anymore. I was sort of like, in the beginning, I was such an idiot. I was like, this is just like fighting, you know? So it was like that came, and then started to feel skill, and it replaced fighting. And then lo and behold, not instantly, but years later, I was like, yo, this is creativity. This isn't violence, but the path was 100% boy toughness, violence.
Do you potentially think, because this is now what I'm thinking now, I have been thinking in the last 10 years or so, but that aggression and that fighting, is it possible that you didn't have an outlet of all that creativity, pent up creativity inside you? You didn't really discover, how do I get this fucking shit out of me? And there's this anger, you know, that once you have some sort of creative outlet, that turns into the poetry is way better there than punching it out.
Yep. Yeah.
So sometimes a good punch out is
good punch beat. Well, I meet a lot of people in my life where violence is behind me in all ways, but I have met so many people where I'm like, man, what's wrong with this person? And I'm like, they've never been punched in the face.
There's a lot of
and
those
I'm like,
these days.
I'm not gonna do it for them right now, but I see where this energy is that I don't like and understand how you still have it, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think that for me, so I was an abused kid, Jersey, Philly, no one helping me process that, acknowledge that. So that's where the violence came from.
Wait,
honestly,
is that where you're from?
Yeah, Jersey is where I grew up. And then I was in Philly in high school, and then met all these cats in Cincinnati because my dad had work there, and we did not grow up with monies. So if I'm going to go to in-state college, I had to go to UC. And I remember I was at Rutgers for my first year, and I had a battle crew, and I was in New York, and I was like, doing it. But of course, none of these the day I had to move to Cincinnati, I was like smoking blunts with all these dudes in a Civic. And I'm like, yo, my fucking career is over. and then it sucked. When I first got to Cincinnati, which kind of was the case at Rutgers, but like to find people to rap with, I had to find black frats, and I had to crash those parties because it just wasn't everywhere. But then again, too, my favorite thing, I talk to some of my homies from this era every once in a while, and man, it was a golden era. You would walk down the street and there would be cats ciphering and rapping like it was gnomes or some shit. Like it was just of the era. And I miss it. If I saw a cipher outside of the fucking Whole Foods, man, I'd mob on them. I don't care where it is. I'll get in this circle. It was a beautiful time. And so it was always, and coming up in that era, I didn't record till I met J.Rawls. So I was all freestyle. And then when I was in my battle days in Jersey and New York, you would have to have some writtens for when the Jive Turkey Kicking Only Writtens showed up, and you lift a little word, even though you're way better, you start to look bad because he's doing this assassination of the proclamation is the entire organization of my, so you would have these writtens, and that was it. I never even thought about writing a song. And then kind of happened, got stranded in Ohio, met a few dudes, and then at one of the frats, I met this dude Tone, and he's like, you should meet J.Rawls. And then I met J.Rawls because we were both in the shitty ass business school in a lounge, not very hip hop. And then we became fastest friends. He really believed me. He's the first dude to empower me because I was a lot weirder than the people around him. He was friends with the 5Ds, and he was working with Lone Catalyst, lots of other people around us at the time. And he would just be like, Dose, you're crazy, man. And I was what I needed,
Yeah.
And that's how I felt solo and started to write and think about things. And like Self-Explanatory, which is on Hemispheres, is like, I think the second song I ever wrote.
Affix, hatred, your coordinates into my lingual matrix. And shape this microphone into a dominatrix, whipping you shameless. MCs be all tongue and anus, needless to say, brainless. So take a deep breath and think gracious.
First one was bad and it didn't go anywhere. But yeah.
Dibs has told me you're hands down the best fucking battle rapper ever to stand there. Did you?
I love Dibs.
Yeah, ever since our episode, we've been talking quite a bit. So I
miss that motherfucker so much.
He'll give me a holler, and we're on the phone for about an hour.
I gotta get in that pocket.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm doing a 7-inch cover for him and Brett Fullerton. So
dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I was gonna ask if you really, you already explained, like you enjoyed that battle rapping, or not, or did you?
No, I loved. I mean, well, so yeah, in the beginning, yes, fucking greatest shit ever. I used to go serve a motherfucker in the bathroom alone.
Yeah,
I don't. And we would battle for names and then try to back that up. Sort of physically impossible, but take a motherfucker's name and then catch him out and make sure he's not calling himself the same shit. And,
would that be on the line? I don't know a whole lot about battle rapping, but can you put that on the line? Like, can you?
We would call it out. It was like a line that we would put on people, and it was a man's world out there, and that so. And I loved it. And battling for those states, I never really cared about competitive battling. And the thing that happened when I started doing those competitive battles was, one, everybody's cheating and winning. So that drove me crazy, and I wouldn't break my rules. I would free it, and it's like, but two, when I battled Peace, even Ab was just not in the zone when he battled me, and I couldn't fucking show him any quarter. He was not coming. I had to take him down. And then Peace, I was like, yo, this dude is like the reason I rap. Like, what am I doing insulting him? So the development of me as a person, an artist, type of things I wanted to do was at that point starting to collide with the nature of this thing that I did. And I'm like, I actually couldn't call Peace even like a poop head. Like, it's none of that jives. I didn't know what to do. I just like chopped,
Yeah.
So like at that point I was like, I'm actually done with this. I don't want to, because then Peace and we eventually ended up being intense freestyle buddies. But it was a road, man. Like, he hated me. I polarized shit. I made a bunch of motherfuckers and blowed not like me. You know what I mean? And I would have, in a cipher, I'll take all comers, I'll serve, I'll earn all my stripes. And I always wanted to do that around people. I never got to meet Cool. Like, I let Peace test me, and I came up the night before Scribble. The battle was bullshit. We were like ciphering. Micah, Jupe. I've had the privilege of like being around the greatest. Micah, dude, when he freestyles, Peace too. It's the only time in my life where this thing that I'm a natural at, they're rapping and then it's my turn and I'm like, oh, what am I doing?
you were just listening. You were just
yeah, the freest, man. It's like a fucking balloon in the sky. It's just not held down. It's really amazing, inspiring shit. But, it just changed the balance. So at that point, I was kind of done with it. And then I really wanted to do something a little more standalone, which was compose songs. And then I got addicted to whole albums and concept.
Yeah.
I wanted to do the art next to the art.
I want to ask you, pardon, I apologize in advance for my ignorance, but I don't know what the disc room and the sludge life is like. What's your association to that? What is it? Can you explain that for me?
Yeah, of course. So, all right, this is a little backstory here. I got in that crazy car accident with Subtle. My friend Dax, big inspiration for me. He's now quadriplegic, paralyzed, recovering, but he's lived a full life. So lucky, so blessed. I don't believe in God, but I'm fucking blessed to have Dax. And But immediately after that incident, shit was dark, So Jeff and I, we overdubbed all of Conan the Destroyer.
I don't want to watch a movie. Wait, that is me. I love this movie. This is my movie. Look at my sword. And look at me, I am sinking. Oh, I bet I am sinking about getting my hair braided. About being king of Europe. This is my movie. And friends. Billy, Pancho, get on the chopper.
I redid all the voices. I called the little sidekick Diplo. It's a mess. It's still on YouTube. Did all the music, all the sound design. And then the second 13 and God happens.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. You say, because I was a huge Conan fan.
I'm sending you links.
You overdubbed like voices or music or?
The whole movie. We cut the movie down and Wilt Chamberlain only speaks in basketball terms. He comes in, he's like, that's a technical.
Oh my God.
The princess talks like this. And they're all drunk. And Jeff has a woman effect on his voice. And he's the Bav Morta. Who's the fucking woman who prays to the horn statue guy? Anyway, the bad woman in Destroyer.
Yeah.
And so we overdubbed all that to make ourselves laugh. And it was fun. It set me on this whole path of like doing humor and stuff. So long story short, many years later, I have all this music debt, and music is just dead. Like the streaming's happening. I used to pay my rent on CDs. Now you can't pay your rent. And at the height of like critical acclaim and I'm in my space.
Yeah.
Carved out my own space, ruling its world. No money's coming in. So I have all this music debt from just kind of parenting, all the touring and investing and all this jazz. So I'm like it's a bad scene. Like I don't have this month's rent and I won't have next month's rent. And then a friend calls me who mixed the Subtle for Hero for Fool record, this dude, Tony Espinoza. And he's like, I have this startup that I sold to Nickelodeon Viacom and we're doing Facebook games. Can you do sound design? And I just was like, yes. But the only thing I've ever done is overdub fucking Conan with dirty words and fucking basketball jokes. Anyway,
why did he pick you though?
Because he just, I did another weird startup with him where I made beats for this like shitty children's Sims kind of thing that didn't go anywhere, Right. So then he calls me with this. So then I go in, I just lie, and I do all the music and sound design for Jersey Shore, the Facebook game. So a couple Facebook games came out, but overall I worked on like 30 something shelved video games because Nickelodeon Digital was idiot soup and they didn't know anything and they couldn't compete, and they're like a warehousing creative entity. Like we think of them as Ren and Stimpy and cool stuff. No, they're
everybody
trash.
was trying to get in on those games at that moment.
Exactly.
And if you fucked up, you fucked up.
And it was like Farmville, Zynga, blah. So they're also doing iOS, mobile. So I keep my head down. It's like 300 people. They fire everyone, but they give everyone Macs, but mine makes music because they're stupid, And so they just keep me. And I'm just like, handling things. And I stayed there for a while. I paid off all my music debt.
Oh, nice.
But then it ends. And I'm like, man, music isn't really, it wasn't like, hey, I want to do this all the time now. But there was something in me because it started with this beautiful thing that was Conan. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of really good at this,
right.
Looking at games and understanding how to sonify them. So I teach myself to produce. And towards the end of that, I reach out to a guy who reviewed The Pelt on Pitchfork 100 million years ago, because I knew he reviews video games in the indie world. And I was seeing some indie games. And he hooks me up and I meet all these indie darlings, and my Doseone-ness, while it left me incredibly broke and needing to go take this corporate job and like suck the glass dick of hourly work, it showed up right after that. And these guys were like, hey, some didn't really know my music, but they were like, this guy seems strange. And then I just started working on indie video games. So I work with one or two people, sometimes 6, biggest team like 20 or 30. And the first games I did that did really well were Enter the Gungeon and Gang Beasts.
Yeah.
And they went platinum. multiple times over. So I don't know, many millions of copies of that game are out. But the way the games work is they go on sale over time and you get them free. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of people playing it. And I worked so hard on those games. And I talked to this guy, Disaster Piece, who's an amazing, he did It Follows. It's like a horror movie. He did that soundtrack. But he's like my, even though he's younger than me, he's like my daddy in that world. You know what I mean? So I go to him and I'm like, yo, boss, I'm doing so much. I'm doing 3 times the work I did for an album for these games. And I'm loving it. It's super artistic work. But I don't know. It feels weird. I feel, can I ask for a revenue percentage? And he's like, absolutely. There's a precedent set. For like some games, there's this game, Crypto the Necro Dancer, and the sound designer, composer, it gets a large percentage because it's all based around music, being on beat. So it's being recognized. And that is something that's not people that I'm working with. That's not their fault. That's a long-standing thing in the industry where you're like, sound is at the sphincter of the process. You just buy it online, or your little brother does it or some shit, or you know. So it's actually just about, I came in at the right time of that recognition for that value and add to a game. Because when you play a game, sometimes if it's a really cool game, you can feel the play pattern and the design right away. But most of the time it's visuals and music. And you're like, I like it, I don't like it. So it's big shoulders. So anyway, I asked for rev percentage on Gang Beasts and Gungeon, and I get a small percent of total revenue, and it just changed my life. So
awesome.
Yeah. So that's like, and then more importantly, the thing that I tell people is like, it's not talent that made me do well in this art. It's just my work ethic.
Sure.
Because actually all the talents are new. I make fucking beats. Every once in a while I get to go, but you know, for the most part, I'm doing all this other shit I didn't do. But it carried over. And then now all the way up to Disc Room and Sludge Life. Disc Room I made with Kitty Callis and JW. Who's like an indie darling, and Terry Velman, and he's from Brazil. And then Sludge Life is just me and Terry. Only the two of us. And both of those games I also write. So I help them write, do all the music and sound design. And then the best thing about doing video games is I'm the dumbest dude in the room. And it actually made me get my edge back. You know, like I hadn't been, like.
You need something to push you?
Yeah. And just a boat that floats on confidence alone is not the same sailing as something that's floating on like good critique, betterment critique, you know, not just like sitting there saying like, rats, I'm stupid and I can't, but you know, like this, like just sort of reading the room and being like, damn, this bar is high as shit. Where would my bar be if I'm just doing music and sound and writing, if it were as high as theirs is? So,
hey, real
so
quick,
sorry.
No,
please.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you should start drawing.
Me?
For one.
Oh
yeah.
And then,
I'm sorry.
And then two.
I was just enjoying this.
And I was just gonna mention like how important music and video games actually is right now, because our kids, though they don't play a ton of video games, the video games that they have played growing up have led to their love of music and their love of creating music. Like some of the first songs our son would play on piano were Minecraft theme songs. And even still, like, we'll be driving around and I'll let them play their playlist. And I'm like, isn't this a video game song? Yeah. And there's even some songs on my playlist where Soul is our son's name. Soul. He's like, this is from a video game, Mom. Do you even know that? And I'm like, no, I had no idea.
It was so great. Yeah, I mean, like, well, that was the other thing too. Is like my peers, the guys who compose, there's like Jukio Kaleo and Eirik Shukre, who does Spelunky and Disaster Piece, and C418, who did Minecraft, the original.
Yeah.
So they fucking make great music. This is not like beep boop doo doo doo, you know, and it's not stock, and it's made to fit. It's a glass slipper fitting of this princess foot or prince foot, you know, that is this game that is like everything else is being super dialed in and iterated on, and we do that on the music side, and it's great. You know, I love being a part of it. And then for me, like a lot of the video game music I grew up on and what I hear in AAA that isn't like just modern music glued onto a radio, it sort of repulses me. Like I hate overly melodic stuff that's like it's like, get the fuck out of here. It reminds me of like this octopus surrounded by pianos, you know, and like this garbage, you know. And I think that sort of, at least for me, this is just all my own bullshit theories I'm projecting into the universe, but I felt like a lot of the early video game music, there was really before its time music made for like Commodore 64, and then the era that I was buying shit, you know, video games were becoming a toy. Some games were amazing games, but a lot of them were like just, it's a hot toy, we got to push it, and the music was getting a little toyified, and so the music was getting like and it's not even commercial. It's like annoying to me. It's like, you know, I don't know what you even call that progression, but luckily I was part of the era where a lot of artists who make these games were like, I don't want chip tunes. So I want to try real music with these real feels and different graphics and sort of contrasting the original idea of the video game with modern stuff. And so I came in and I don't really do crazy melodies. I just kind of like rap and punk there's not a lot of chord changes, you know. Right. It's actually the feel and the mood, and you're like, I could just loop this. I'm here. And so that's kind of what I did. I just sort of found that pocket, which is a music I understand and can hear and create in games.
And it's a good marriage. So, it is the music. So when before I'm going to have somebody on the show, I'll fucking immerse myself in anything I can get my hands on of whoever I'm having on as a guest for days. And so I have everything that you're a part of, every group you've got, any features, anything you've been on, I have it all. And I've been listening to it nonstop for like the last 4 days. And you have the ones that are called the soundtracks. So are those the soundtracks to
games?
The games.
Yep.
And that it's not, and I don't feel like I'm listening to a video game when I'm so I listen to it usually when I'm running or stuff. I'm like, this is Doseone's music. It's what it sounds like you. It sounds like you.
Well, and it really only makes sense as, I guess, could you call yourself an audiophile? Like, why not bridge over to different areas of sound?
Is that a term? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
audiophile it sounds kind of pedo. I don't know if that's what you're reacting to.
It is like a pedophile.
I am
that kind of file, and it's not like audiophile.
You don't want to be an audiophobe. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, you know, I guess what's important to say on this, because maybe musicians are listening to it, is like, I think the thing that was really hard for me to swallow and broke my heart before moving through it, changed my life, was just that this thing that I may be totally singular at in the world and the best at, which is just rapping like a fucking idiot, writing these prose, rapping these written prose, you know, might not be what takes care of me, period. End of fucking conversation, you know. And some people are lucky they can make that work, you know. I love your grind. It's like siphoning how great you are at your art, turning that into other aspects of that, letting people into it, showing them how valuable it is, and you're getting the value out of it. Something happened to music, and I love Instagram for artists. Like, I love that all my artist friends have 90,000 followers and I have 6. You know, it's like, I respect that shit because that's that medium. And it's like, you guys have deserved that. Before it was like fucking graph magazines that were.
It's the Spotify of.
Yeah, let me say this. So on top of what you're saying there, so I got younger. When I was younger, I met some older artists. Like one of my closest friends, and he's in his late 60s. He's an artist. He's still on the grind, and people collect his work, and he's awesome. But I first started seeing people aging out with their artwork, like they were no longer as relevant as they were when they were big. So I always had a fear of that. Yeah.
That's everywhere.
I got on that, and then so now I'm getting hit up about this NFT thing all the time, and I fucking hate it. But then I see it like happening so greatly for other people, and I'm like, I don't want to be the Blockbuster of the NFT where I see something coming and I'm like, well, I'll just stick to my fucking guns, and then I'm wiped out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a really big thing. Okay, one, I don't want NFT fucking backlash about this, so I'm going to claim myself semi-ignorant.
On 2 other episodes, I just said that I was going to do some NFTs. Like, I might be doing one with Dibs.
Right, you never know. And also, too, I ain't go judge, right? I'm not knocking, I support sex work. I'm going to fucking support NFTs for people that, whatever. There's no lines for me. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you just theoretically why I hate the NFT. Is like, we're dealing with the Spotify thing, it's like stolen money. They're putting it into defense AI. That was the big thing today. It's
they are?
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, what could be more disgusting than all of us not getting our just nickels? Is the nickels going to like
to more defense
nuke stuff? Yeah, whatever their thing. So
microwaving embassies.
It's disgusting, and that's all that Sahati money, like that shouldn't be going there. But I think there's this like, on top of that, I guarantee you the way you don't pay back artists, musicians for years of being slighted on their true value in this economy and society is by giving 6 of them $4 million. It reads scam, it reads bullshit, and that is just another imbalance amongst the imbalance. And I think it goes way past addressing getting all this other money and rights and streaming. All of that needs to be like legitimized before you go giving $6 million to like Fred Savage, who does a fucking NFT with Gwen Stefani and Von Dutch.
The second I heard like even Jimmy Fallon, he's funny enough to me and everything, but he's like, we're just releasing our first NFT. Then I start hearing everybody fucking releasing NFTs, and I'm like, what the fuck what is everyone buying? What is it about? Is it about artwork, or is it just this fucking? I don't.
You're on the right. Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Adrian?
Well, 2 things. Well, I think it's just a trend. And it's a trend that you can't hang on your wall.
It's crypto.
Or put in your pocket.
Also, it's crypto.
And it's,
to be clear,
damaging the environment.
Mm-hmm.
With this money, I don't understand it, but I do understand that people are telling me it's damaging. So I'll take their word for it. But then I was thinking the other day, so we pay a subscription that's almost the same amount, maybe the same amount to Netflix that I do to Spotify.
Right.
But I know that those people who are on Netflix get paid.
Funded, yeah,
and they get paid well. So what is the difference?
It's because I'll tell you.
Artists. There are more artists, but it takes a lot more money to create a movie than it does an album.
We consume music at a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute clip. With a movie, there's way more music out there than there are the movies.
But it costs the same on our bill, and
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it
the reality is
the musician to create it, I think.
So what happened is the cat for music and MP3s and waves, when the internet came, Napster, all the things that happened after, during, before, right? That cat was completely out of the bag when they created trash like Spotify. The film cat was half out of that bag. You know, it was harder to bootleg. You have to have more storage space. It's actually a function fucking privilege, you know, straight up. So like in the end of the day, Spotify is like putting a fucking muddy rag on someone as a Band-Aid, you know, like, so what they were doing was just creating something that's kind of tracking and allotting some pennies, whereas no one was getting anything when it was just torrent town. Now, what they would do is retroactively go back and reverse those rates. They got the money, you know, but it would crush them. They can't do that. They also have contracts that say they don't, and their contracts are with all these services that were set up largely by major record labels and industry stalwarts, you know, so you're sort of dealing with their like, we'll take any money we can get. They brokered the standard rate, all that. And now we have this sort of fallout that is 10 million streams is $10. I don't care about the math. You know, I put my shit on Spotify because to move forward for me as an artist and not be hurt by all this jazz and have it twist me as it still twists, I had to abandon the sense of like future value coming from all this stuff, because that's just not what's happening. You know, like I think if so, you work on a work, fully ink it, you know, you could charge a couple $100. I work on this thing, it's 99 cents when it hits things. 99 cents is, I hate to sound like, you know, Jewish grandma number one over here, but I don't think you can get gum for 99 cents.
They don't even have penny candy anymore.
See what I'm saying? But you can go get that new Drake fucking candy bar song, whatever. You know, like, so I think that happened. But also to be clear, you know, you're on the right side of how to feel about NFTs. The whole games industry is very anti them, not only because of these environmental concerns, but I don't know if you've seen, but artists are getting ripped off constantly. Their work is being sold as NFTs. It's like Redbubble, except you get 80 grand or 6 grand or a grand. And I'm glad that wealth is being theoretically displaced with crypto. I support that. However, I was thinking about this the other day because I had to go into a public library. You got to have internet to get crypto. If we thought money and gold bars was exclusionary, crypto is incredibly exclusionary. Yeah. It is literally for the above poor only. Mm-hmm. And I actually, if you're doing NFTs, which started as basketball cards, make me throw up, digital basketball cards, and now you got to do one with me to survive. They got to do a digital basketball card, you know. So I think it's just the notion of a bunch of money going to artists is fantastic, but I just think that this is like a quick fix. It's like a jerry rigging of fucking funny money. Also, you know, these prices wouldn't be there if it weren't for crypto. Nobody would be spending
no kidding
million cat. You know what I'm saying?
No one would be buying a Beeple for fucking $160 million.
And I think the other thing about that too is like Basquiat's ghost being like, eat me.
Yeah,
you know? Kidding. Who are you selling all that? Yeah. When people had to live through like entire lives and manifest talent for the first time, and their works that still exist are not 160 million.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm back and forth always on. I don't like it.
You can still do it, but that's sure. The way.
And what I tell a lot of like younger people who collect my work or other younger artists that talk to me, I always say like, I'm comfortable with with the collectors I have and the things that I have. I have the things I want. I don't need to. Fuck yeah, it would be cool to have $160 million, but I didn't get into this with that. I'm always pushing to reach higher, but I'm good where I'm at. I don't need to fucking completely drop things that I don't want to say sell. I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know.
No, I know it's a thing. No, I know what you're saying, man. It's basically like it's like you make this art, but where it's sold, why and how, it doesn't matter in that you'll make more art or in the art that you made that is being sold. But ultimately it does matter. And especially in this day and age where like, I actually don't think artist rights are in the best place, period. I think it's been really hard for me to get where I got, and it took way too much. At the times where I should have been proud, I had to stay desperate. You know, I'm all about keeping hunger and edge across a human life.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line between like Sisyphus and fucking rolling a snowball downhill that's always growing, you know? So I don't know. So I think, it's okay. I don't judge people who do NFTs, but like creeps me out, and I worry about you. That's the thing I do. I just worry about a motherfucker when I see the NFT. I'm like, and David Lynch, my favorite man on earth, did an NFT with My Chemical Romance. Who was it? No, the guy who sings like Interpol. The guy who's always singing like this.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I don't keep up.
Well, I'm. Shit,
You made a really good point with the people who can't that don't have internet. It's like it's a major class division. I know that I just watched a thing on something that was saying that the indigenous people, they don't even have, like, they have to drive 100 miles just to go to the library just to get the internet.
And also, I mean, in every major city, where I grew up, that was the first time I was on the internet. I went to a fucking library. You didn't have computers. Your friend didn't have a computer, you know? And I think now a lot of people have smartphones. So that is good. But like, to me, it's something, and we want to have conversations about it, but we don't want to have that conversation. So I actually don't want to have all these other ones unless we're having like one about why the new money is also not for the people that have no money.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm a big, my biggest concern whenever I have a discussion even like this at all is about the artists. I straight up in my discussion with Sage Francis was my very first episode of this show, and we didn't know where we were headed with this. I just wanted to talk to people whose music that I fucking loved. And what happened in that discussion is I learned that I was fucking feeding off of the rotten apple. Like I was only on Spotify. That's the only way I was getting my music. I'm not going to stand here and lie. Like I fucking listen to Spotify. It's how I find new artists. But since that message or discussion with Sage, I fucking am buying. I buy up. I'll buy fucking album, the vinyl. I'm so down to like.
You're there
buy
now.
This shit.
Yeah, and now you're safe though, because that's what I do. Like I buy video games because I know the person who made it. I'm dropping that 10. I buy albums. But whatever it is, like it's important, man. I think that, and also that's affordable. Buying, like people like you, I have a lot of artists where I'm like, damn, I want to buy that, but I don't actually have a G.
Yeah, bro, I can't afford my work.
right. But these other mediums, like, yo, I could give you that $15. Like,
sure, yeah.
Let's go. I will waste that tomorrow buying a drink twice because I'm an idiot or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so coming up off that, supporting. It's never aimless. Like that's the way to do it.
Do you think that the new? I mean, I guess it's not that new, but it does seem like there's this energy for people to consume, to buy vinyl again, and to buy tapes. Do you think there is a part of people now that are like, "Yep, I've been fucking using up Spotify. I want. Here's a way that I can help pay for artists that I like. I want to buy their vinyl and their."
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's a compass correcting itself. Like, I don't think South is North now for any of these motherfuckers. But I appreciate that they're in on this collection thing, which is its own. So I think actually that's two animals, right? Spotify is the thing I used to talk about, which doesn't make any sense. It's not a real metaphor. But like because they sell so much bottled water, but like once water was free, it's pretty hard to charge for it. You know what I mean? Yep. I felt like that happened to music. And there's also something just about like ease and comfort. You know what I mean? It's like a bag of potato chips. If it were 2 chips, it'd actually be a really upsetting experience. You wouldn't partake in very often because you'd always be dissatisfied. You're like, oh man, I got 2 chips. Who needs 2 chips? Yeah. So it's like the aspect of like pulling up Spotify and every Whitney Houston song is there. And it's just YouTube, Yeah, it's okay. And actually, if more people are touching the surface of more musics, I'm not gonna send them all to hell for that.
Right.
You know? So that's all good. I think that I put my shit on Spotify because I'd rather be responsible for the freeloading of it than just like be here like the bus hit me. You know, I think it's like, so, you know, and people gripe about that. So like I have, again, I don't like social media. I actually don't believe in it. I utilize it to throw light on the things I'm executing.
Same.
But I don't enjoy it. I don't see, you know, I read it like a paper, so I see what everyone's doing. But at the same time, I think it's like, it's okay. All of it is this new expression, but it's not how I engage my meaning, you know, per se. So, and I think Spotify's that.
I feel like we can be responsible with the shit that we use. If we use social media, you can be responsible about it and not be a fucking complete ass. Let me do. So I started the timer just so to put it out there. I'm drawing on your drawing. I only do that so I can gauge. My big thing is I hate fucking taking up people's time. It's been a big thing for me. I just respect people's time because time is currency these days for sure. But we're not bound by this by any means. But I did set it. And I put down some questions to ask you, and I don't use them if we're having a discussion, but there are some that I wrote down that I like to use.
I like it. Yeah, get me. And what is Sophie's Choice like a Glenn Close movie? What is that?
It's a not Glenn Close, but now that you said Glenn, it's a Meryl Streep
It's
movie.
close.
I only know that because it gets brought up like every time.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I've known the term Sophie's Choice for a long time because I had a piece of art that I made and I titled it Sophie's Choice. I didn't know that Sophie's Choice the term came up with because of the movie Sophie's Choice. So it's basically two hard choices. It's like either this one or this one. You know, that's what a Sophie's Choice is. So
I like it.
Yeah. So, but I just found out when I was doing on an episode with AWOL1, and he was like, he said something about that movie Sophie's Choice, and I felt like a dumb. Now rewatching it, I feel like a dummy because I was like, I don't know. And here I'm asking him about Sophie's Choice questions.
I was thinking, I was like, am I ignorant, or is it like really important, or is it a Glenn Close thing? I was like, what is this shit? Why do I know it?
Yeah, it's
just so you guys know, Sophie's Choice was first a novel.
There you go. That's why it holds weight.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a term that I learned about like fucking I don't know, however long ago I did the piece. It must have been 10 years ago.
That's amazing. You learned the term.
Yeah, and I didn't know where it came from. I just wanted to title my piece like, "What's a hard choice between a light bulb and a chicken?"
That's great. They're going to be like, he used to gangbang, but now he's into Sophie's Choice.
You know what happened is it was a good way for me to say something because I don't know a whole lot about your guy, like the music industry or anything. I've used music to create everything that I've made. And so I knew cool. That's what I wanted to talk to on my shows. I want to talk to fucking people whose music changed my shit.
This is why I make music, dude, is like, I've always I literally didn't make money doing it, but that was not like some big shock surprise ending to me. I was making it to make artists feel like I'm going to make art tonight after I listen to this. Because that was how I felt seeing my contemporaries, you know. A good show, I would be like, anxious is like a strong word for it, but I'd be like, yo, I want to get home and
inspired.
Fucking do 100%. Yeah. It would burn. It was great. And seeing people I kind of knew or that I could tell were not someone's son, you know, like, I don't know what that is, but a lot of like music I've encountered, you're like, how did you get this? Are you like from a finishing school? What is this shit I'm seeing that I like, but I don't like, you know? So just seeing like normal motherfuckers struggle, get up there and do it. It changed everything. Totally inspiring. And I'm glad that any art I made fed into the art that you make.
Fuck yeah. And you definitely, and that's like right up my alley. Like just even the soundscapes that you make. I listen to this band called Silver Mount Zion for when I'm creating.
Love them.
Yeah, fucking love it. Like them and Godspeed. and like all of that. I love that stuff, and you make that. You have that vibe.
I just did this new ambient. Oh, so speaking of all that Spotify hooey, I'm not gonna have. I guess this is what I was almost going to say earlier is like, I'm not going to talk about this shit on my socials. You're not going to see some thread from me where I'm like, Spotify gives you 2.3 cents. And that's because, so I'm over it. I'm living my life. But what I did decide to do is I'm going to do quite a few works of art now that are not the opposite of NFT. I was inspired by that gutter trash. And I was like, they're going to be physical only. They're going to be in very small numbers. Yeah. So I did 100 tapes of this ambient record. I'm going to do 200 vinyl taken by glaciers. And I did that because I've always wanted to do ambient music, but I always felt like I'm not allowed. And I was like, fuck you. I'm doing
whatever you want.
I'm old. Yeah. So doing that. And then my next piece is going to be physical only. And it's crazy pants, rapping, genreless shit. And then the piece after that is like a Bomb Squad inspired hardcore 90s rap record.
Does physical also mean that you can buy it on Bandcamp?
No, actually, fuck the whole internet.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to, that's it.
Where do we get it from? Well, how will we?
There'll be links. So my friend Zach runs a collective in Oakland called Hands Made. He did a bunch of video work for Go Dark and for me. And Hands Made Collective, I'm just over the industry and I trust him and love him. And so we just press up a really nice version, super low numbers, put them on pre-order, let them go. We did G is for Job through him, the tape and the double vinyl. And I'm probably going to be just doing that from the future. And just like, I think actions over banter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just kind of doing that. And then the bigger full lengths might go on the net to still, figuring that out. But that's sort of like that feels like a creative solution to something I'm not feeling either, but I'm not going to talk about it. And I'm not going to like.
Does that mean I have to buy like a CD player?
That it means I'm going to send you some. That's why I brought all this shit up. I'll send you a copy. I should send you a whole care package. Actually.
I will be,
that's
not necessary.
I just mean in general, if people are going to start doing CDs again, that means that I better buy
You might. Yeah. I have a tape player. I have a CD player.
That you put all the CDs in.
Oh God. Yeah.
Well, I'll be ordering, whatever you're putting out, I'm ordering it. I mean, and I'm even more inclined to people who've actually taken me up on my request to be on my show. So anytime, so what I do is I sell prints. Like you get the original of this, but I'll sell the prints of them. And anytime someone buys it from me, 100% of the money that someone buys the print from me, I turn around and spend that with whoever was on the episode that I did it for. Because this isn't how I make my living. I have collectors, who collect my artwork. Yeah. This is like the sugar on top. But I was gonna say, I've been railing against the tape thing because I fucking hate the sound of tape.
It's kind of it's like my womb sound to me, man. I put on a tape and I'm like, what is this? What is this mud I have to hear the song through? I love it so much. It's my memory.
I'm gonna accept you said that now, and I'm gonna change my attitude towards it because I have a whole fucking huge metal case full of tapes over here in my studio that I've held on to because I just I couldn't throw them out.
You actually shouldn't. A lot of that shit is probably pretty rare.
I got some good shit over there, like bands that people never even heard of.
Do you like Black Moon? If you know Black Moon, Enter the Stage. It's a great record. You should check it out. Classic rap. But that record has a super signature sound that changed the game. And the reason is because they were actually sampling off tape. His mother's tape deck. So I was just going to say, if you like that, there's a whole reason to, not resent the mud.
The reason's been injected in me. You gave me a good enough reason. I respect you as an artist, and I'm gonna stop fucking complaining about it and go I agree there. It definitely has that sound, and I'm gonna appreciate the sound for what it is rather than
it's weird. And they're tape is the only, there's other crappy tape predecessors like 8-track, but it's the only thing that was a brick of music. You can't really find your way around it quick. Like, that's the world I grew up in. Now you're just like, skip, I want to hear Barbie World. Skip, I want to hear.
Plus, after you're like, when you've listened to both sides of the tape, you can just fucking throw it to the back of the car, and it still plays just
it's
as
gonna be
good
fine.
as
Yeah, just don't leave it on the window.
That's
Just
right.
Whatever the ledge. Yeah.
Every time you guys say tape, my muscle memory wants to stick my finger in the thing
and turn it.
like.
Man, I tell you what,
when it
there's
came
been
out.
like, I remember being young and like we'd have these B tapes and like you would see a grown hoodlum almost cry when certain tapes got ate. Like it would be, and you'd be like, oh, I got it, man. And everyone would be super serious and they'd be like, give me a pen. Who's got a pen? And then you roll it for them and all the hoodlums would be really sensitive and like careful till it's over. And then you'd play it and still fuck up. But
You know
yeah,
how
those are
hard
days.
it was to get $10
No kidding.
when we were kids?
Oh my God.
Like,
Dude.
we were
Well,
lucky.
we could steal
I was lucky
tapes.
to buy one tape a year.
Yep. Yeah. Tower Records. Remember CDs came in those fucking tower? Those
Yeah, the
shitty
big
boxes.
fucking huge plastic things. But that's why when Gencos came out, those I could slide all kinds of CDs down the fucking.
You know, for us, it was the Triple Fat Goose. The Triple Fat Goose changed the game. You could steal like baseball cards and micro machines and music all in the same fucking trip. It was
I don't know what triple fat goose is.
it's the first puffer jacket. Check it out. They were pretty hideous. We all, getting a triple fat trench was
Were
like
they as hideous
the
as
big
Genco
thing.
jeans though?
No, that what was worse than that was damage. Do you remember? There was like after cross colors, there was a line of like pre-distressed jean outfits that are maybe the most fucking hideous Gumby ass shit I've ever seen. They're all one color. You had to walk around one color. I don't know what was going on.
I went into a place in the mall. I can't remember what it was called, and I was wearing fucking Gencos, and I had a cross colors hoodie that I put underneath my. I must have I pulled them up on my legs, and while I was trying clothes on, I walked out with those. One time I fucking stole a cane. I don't know why I was like I wanted to pimp with the fucking cane, and
I could get it in these pants.
I full on. Slid it down my pants, and like normally if you were wearing tight pants, you'd kind of have to walk like that. But with my pants, I could kind of walk out, and I walked out with them.
Yep, the big boy walk. I used to, yeah.
So you're an Adam, so I'll hit you with some Sophie's Choice. Sophie's Choice.
Yes, let's do this.
Adam Sandler or Adam Driver?
Oh, Sandler, and I hate him, but I hate Adam Driver. He's
you hate him?
Oh, that's trash, man. Ruin those Star Wars movies. Sad boy. We don't need sad boy
He's
Vader.
the tall guy, Adam Driver.
You like
He's
him,
the
Adrian?
Okay, he's the guy from Girls. That's how he will always be the guy from Girls, and that's not
He's
bad. But I don't.
interesting.
I've never
I
watched
don't
it.
know.
Yeah, he's overhyped to me.
I mostly actually know him from John Oliver's last season.
Oh yeah, he was always
He was
hitting on
like-
him. Yeah, he's like sending him these ambiguous love letters. I'll tell you what, I fucking love me some John Oliver.
Yeah.
I'd take a knife for him, and I don't even know the
He would
man.
always make me feel comfortable, as crazy as everything. Like when I'd get
These
real
last 2
crazy,
years?
I would have to watch
I
him and
agree.
be like, "Oh, God, thank you." Someone's like put it in some perspective that I couldn't articulate, and it just made me
Yeah.
feel good.
He breaks
Really
it
needed
down
that.
well.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, he's.
What about
yeah.
if you hate Adam Driver? Then this is going to be great. Adam Levine or Adam Devine?
My God, I don't even know who those people are.
I
Is one of
know.
them a model and the other one's a dancer?
Adam
Here.
Levine, I think, is the lead singer of.
Oh my God, of a band, the
Maroon
Lagoon,
5.
Creeper Maroon. Okay,
Maroon, yeah.
so and then who's the other one? Adam Gringo.
Adam Devine. He's an actor.
Wait,
He was
is
in
he
Pitch
Turtle?
Perfect, and he's in that show Workaholics. I don't know him very well. So he does like some
I think
sketch
I have to
comedy
go with
stuff.
that guy because I can't pick the other man. I'm bound by integrity and not
is
being
he, like,
blonde.
Frodo or
No,
it,
Adam Devine
or Turtle?
No,
Was he Turtle?
He wasn't Turtle either.
Toto. He was Toto. You're thinking of Toto Baggins, the dog boy.
What about? I couldn't find a whole lot of Adams that I felt would work. What about Amy Adams or Brian Adams?
Oh shit! Wait, who's Amy Adams? Because Brian Adams.
I think. Oh no, she's
Amy
the
Adams is
actress.
the red. She's kind of red hair mostly. She's ginger girl. That's an actress.
She.
What's she in?
I wish I could share the screen.
I'm into
I know that
ginger
she's in-
energy.
She's pretty good. I don't know. She sometimes bothers me, but she was in I think
Ginger
she was the
Madness?
Ever After. Wasn't she like
Ever After.
Cinderella
Oh,
or something?
okay. I guess I'm going to go with Bryan Adams because I'm thinking about the "We Can Dance If We Want To," which is not him,
yeah,
but it's making me think of that, and I like it. And that video is
one
amazing.
song on the piano when I was younger. It was a Bryan Adams song. I think he did the song.
What's his big hit? He had that song at the end.
I don't know if
all
this
the
is one of his
movies.
songs, but I think it is. It goes, "Wherever you are."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
You do. I can still play that on the piano.
And that was at the end of like 7 movies. Like he made that song
and a million weddings.
Oh, that's so true,
He
man.
was
Yeah.
one of those when you were waiting with your tape to record the good song.
Yep.
Yeah, you had to listen to that.
Oh, wait. It's more Bryan Adams.
Yeah, you're saying when I thought you were saying when you call into a show to request, you'd have to listen to that fucking song until your song came on.
It's fucking morgue music, dude. They play that shit for corpses.
Ghostface Killer or Killer Priest?
Oh shit, that's difficult. I'm gonna have to go Priest, man. I was never the biggest. I know it's heretical, but Killer Priest is fucking nasty. Ghostface was always a point of contention for me in the Wu-Tang.
Oh,
people think he's the best. I am not there.
Yeah.
I do. He has some amazing, ridiculous lines that I'll never forget, like creeping through the fog, the big buffalo log. I'm not sure if that's a poop thing. And then the other one,
the way
that
you
I really
said it,
like,
it definitely sounded like it was a poop
does.
thing.
Like, what's that buffalo log over there? And then the other one I really like from him is Peep the Beaver. I have a baby blue Glock in the safe. So I don't know if there's like a beaver by this, like it's a guard beaver. And then he has this powder blue Glock. It's like his lady's Glock. Baby boy. Is that for a baby newborn? It's a newborn Glock.
That's funny.
Anyway.
Well, what about
I think Bison McPies, by the way.
Bison McPies?
Is that what's creeping through the fog? Is that the buffalo log? Is that
I
what you're
think
saying?
it's like a cow pie. I don't think it's a log. I think it's a pie.
Okay. Right.
Oh,
right.
you think of pies?
The way it hits, I think it.
It actually,
turns
so
into a
it
pie,
actually
not
is some form of log that's approaching him through a fog. Then, so it's literal. Because I can't imagine that's the truth. Killer Priest though is fucking nasty, man. I love Killer Priest. He was.
What about this one? This one, so I could bring up a topic, but Idea or Idaho?
Oh, Idea all the way.
You-
Even though I was born in Idaho, fuck it.
What?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Prefer
That's why I
Mikey.
was bringing
Yeah.
it up.
Where weren't you?
My dad, so my parents were hippies, and then they, my dad, so I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the 68 Kent State, there was a shooting of, so Jeffrey, the gentleman who was shot, was my father's roommate. He was my father's yoni in college, and my dad was at Kent. He was one of the first hippies, and he wasn't at that protest, which started peaceful because he was part of sabotaging and burning down the ROTC building prior. So, very like righteous my dad became. He grew up in Long Island, went out there, did this beautiful thing, was part of that movement, but then wanted to be an artist and believe in New York City, which meant I had to grow up in Jersey, poor as shit. So
yeah,
they were trying to do right, but it went where it went. And so he was a glass blower. So and that industry was exclusively in coastal big cities, for the most part. In the
So
80s.
how long were you in Idaho for?
Oh, like, pre-fetus, post-fetus, and then little shit. So I think we were moved to Long Island when I was like 2 or something, and then made our way up to Jersey over a little bit there. And so I don't remember anything. They just tell me about that shit. And Idea, I remember quite a bit, and I love him and I miss him.
Yeah.
And him and Bren, it ain't right, man.
Yeah. I know people go to, it's like just wrong. It's, one of those things where I'm like, how the fuck is this asshole still alive? And then all these great people are gone.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when you really lose, when I lost Bren, I got stuck there a lot. I'd be like, fucking Elon Musk and Fred Savage, and he's a nice guy, I'm sure, but whatever, whoever, you know, it's just like literally I got to see fucking Dead Mouse, but I can't have Bren, you know.
Right.
That's terrible. I don't mean that. But you know,
no,
like,
I know what you're saying.
It was
you're making a point.
It was a lot, man. You don't. The best people. You know how like there's all these people that like take up too much space in your life. There's amazing people that make all this space in your life, and then you lose them, and that you just gotta. I don't know. I'm still understanding what I do with the space that Bren left in me. You know?
Right. Yeah.
It's too real, man. And you can't just put shit in it. You can't just turn it into a sculpture garden or donate it to children. It's a very, you know, some that even though I've done probably more records than anyone alive about death, I was not ready. And it's actually, you know, it's a thing. I'm still getting back to it.
Did you experience a lot of death growing up or not, or mostly not?
No, I actually, I had there's a lot of violence in the places that I was in, but that wasn't expressly death. But for me, I remember being a little kid. So the Slow Death, that like ambient-y 4-track record I did.
They were called the Rainbow Covers. Each had his own color, which also is his name. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Yellow, brown, Francis was the chief. The goblins lived on.
So that's actually about remembering in college this thing that happened when I was a kid, where there's a Hare Krishna death model that's like a little baby, and then it's crawling, and then it's walking, and then it's a boy, then it's a man, then it's an old man, then it's an older man, then it's a skeleton. And I was, I think 5, and I saw that while my mom was dragging me through New York City streets. So it was all in like a millisecond, you know. I passed this little booth, and I saw that model, and then I just cried for 2 days. They had to keep me home from school. And I just was like, I'm gonna die. And they're like, no, you're gonna have school and stuff, and then there's babies and monkeys. And like, I was like taken over, and I forgot about all that. And then, you know, it just is something that, not to get, you know, Dark City over here, but like the reality is I don't believe in God. I believe in death, and that is, therefore, I believe in life. I do not doll up my time here. I've seen people go right in front of me, all kinds of stuff. That's not even the main contributor. The same way people are like, I know there's this, I know there's that. I believe in ghosts. I know what I fucking know. I did a couple songs about Dead Cat Clear, and that's actually another thing where I was around 8. And I used to go onto this porch on my block in Jersey where they had this dead cat that was wrapped in newspapers that like the kids found. And I would just go sit there and look at it. And I would just be like, yo, this is what's next. This is what's happening. Like, if this thing doesn't go, what? I'm not getting wings. I'm not, you know, I just remember like this little bit of evidence under a porch, creepy style in Jersey, was giving me all of this like grounding, you know. And then, you know, it didn't turn it, you know, I'm not goth, man. I just believe in living and going all out, and my people, and like, you know, putting it on the line for them and the things I really need and believe in. So, you know, I manifested into a life strategy, but the reality is like death is, you know, king. That's the DogHawk factors heavily. And, you know, it's the hard line.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I've had a lot of death in friends and held people while they died. And I have always, I've never dwelled much on it, but yeah, it's just something that we all get.
I know, right?
The end game.
I have an inkling of hope that maybe there's something more.
There's something more, yeah. Well, hey, look, So just like I
Anyway.
was talking about NFTs and like if you did it, it's cool. Hey, if you're in heaven and you're eating berries and shit, fuck yeah, man.
Great.
I hope it's Tupac and Albert Einstein sitting on a log, just not connecting. That's what I
That's
want.
right. Trying to.
Like, so there,
Maybe
Tupac's
they're-
like, shut the fuck up.
The best is if they would be having, if fucking, like, this could be a good drawing. I don't know if it'll work, but Einstein and Tupac having a discussion about Ghostface Killer's lyric about the log.
Yeah, the log. Oh, that's amazing. It's like, the buffalo is not a log. Yeah. One of them is British. I used to think a lot about, like, you know, like, if Tupac is in heaven, like, you're sort of modern, like, larger than life 90s black dude, he's gonna be running shit up there with all those fucking like Socrates and shit. They're not gonna know how to handle that motherfucker. And I like to think that he's up there in heaven, like calling everyone Einstein. All white people are Einstein to Tupac in heaven. So he's like, all right, Einstein, get in the back of the line. You ain't on the list. Tupac works the door at all the heaven functions. He's like, all right, Einstein, get back there. He's just letting
That's a good
whoever in.
visual.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think that's what's
that's got to be my inkling of hope.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I hope that's happening. The other one that always got me, I remember being a kid and being like, they're always talking about dog and cat heaven and hell and shit, but like, isn't cat hell like a bunch of dogs surrounding one cat? And then isn't that dog heaven?
Yeah,
So
there
like,
you go.
you got to straighten out these analogies before I start. And then like, what? It's more like a heaven industrial complex, because if all this dumb shit has a heaven, snakes, fucking Pokemons, white people, black folks, Latin folks, elephants, like, what are you doing up there? It's gotta be crazy. It's a zoo.
Well, speaking of cats and dogs, what about Snoop Dogg or Cat Power?
Oh shit, Snoop Dogg. No, I met Cat Power once. She was a lot. She's very talented.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, definitely Snoop Dogg is not a contest. Dude.
But you have cats and dogs, right?
No, just cats. Yeah, I don't know about dogs. They're cool. Like, nature is cool, but I'm not gonna fuck with it really.
Well, I imagined your DogHawk. I mean, I used to write a little poetry. My aunt is one of the founders of slam poetry in Chicago. In Chicago, the slam poetry scene in Chicago.
Wow.
But so I was way turned on to poetry. But I never want to ask anyone what any of their lyrics mean, because that's the same as someone asking me what my art means. That's for yourself. I feel
you're about to.
No, I was going to say. I was just going to explain. I just feel the DogHawk is close, nearing death, or even in a dream state. And it doesn't necessarily matter that much. But this is one of your cats. It's a picture of your cat sitting in the thing. But I'm thinking of the cat represents you, critter. And you're on the back of this.
So the DogHawk is actually this combinate thing that is the wilderness of where proper artistic work comes from. So the DogHawk is actually, so it's all about the DogHawk coming up next to me and letting me touch it, and then it eats my face, and then it walks me to a point where it leaves me. So it's actually inspiration, more or less. So it's like one of my favorite poets, Galway Cannell, has this excerpt from an interview I saw with Yoni where he has these unconventional line breaks, and they're like, what are you doing with those line breaks? And he's like, I just imagine there's a cat behind me, and when it scratches the back of my hand, I break the line. So this is actually an abstraction. And I when I wrote the record with Bren, Les's orchestra, he sent me all the beats, and some of them I would microdose a little bit of shrooms, but basically I would pull up a beat without having labored over listening to it, and I would write the entire song that day, and then I would record it the next day.
Oh, awesome.
And we basically did a song a week for 10 weeks, and it is, I have to say, losing Bren is absolutely one of the worst things that ever happened to me, but I got to spend that whole... The time I had with him was exactly vital.
Yeah.
We made the best music we've ever made. We gave each other chills. And for me, there's many curses in losing him, but one of the smaller ones is that, you know, I can't unremember the significance of that. And so it's, you know, it's been a whole thing. And the DogHawk is all about that. You know, the DogHawk is not something you call. This motherfucker does not come in for dinner. Like,
right.
You don't go outside your house and bang a pot and the DogHawk shows up. The DogHawk is there as it so pleases. And so, you know.
Wow. The DogHawk is inspiration.
Yeah, 100%. And wrote it in a single sitting. I wrote the entire piece, almost no edits. And that's, yeah.
Sorry, I was
at
the beginning of the intro. I built it up pretty good for. I want people to go and experience it. I want that whole album. I fucking love.
That record is great.
Yeah. But I specifically picked out Dog. I was like, you got to go just read along with the lyrics and listen, because sometimes it's hard to hear what people are saying if you're just listening to the music. But what I tend to like to read people's lyrics while I'm listening to them. It makes I have a hard time computing a lot of things sometimes.
That's the whole thing, though. That's like visual mind versus, you know, that's the same reason I can't sculpt, because like I can't detract. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's all this shit about the various ways that, I'm the same. And sometimes too, it's just like, I remember doing that as a kid, like especially with the Saphir Boxcar sessions. I remember opening the lyrics and being like, what the fuck? This man is saying that? I was like, I can't even let it, you know.
Remember the time when you used to have to fucking rewind the tape, catch a couple of the lyrics, write it down, pause it, rewind it?
I did a thing the other day. I did some chops on this new song that I'm working on, and I was like, you got to scrub this. You can't just hear this. It's too hard for me. You know, like you don't know what I'm saying. It's physically impossible. And then I hearken back, though, to like me listening to like Log Cabin and some of like the early Blowed stuff. And you can hear it. It's just like a whole other echelon of fucking out of body mind disconnect listening. It's possible.
Yeah. Well, and I usually don't bring up other artists, because I know that like, especially when the what are those called back in the day on the internet, like guest boards, like people would go
Message
on.
board.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that's where a lot of beef happened between like underground, like DIY craft hip hop artists. I feel like a lot of it happened from those like those boards, and it wasn't actually even real beef. I don't know.
No.
But I have that same. So with your lyrics and with Aesop Rock, both, I have to like read them because I can't. It's like too much for me to. It's like sensory overload. I need to know what's happening here. But
yeah, I think there's no page breaks with me and Ace and a couple other people. It's just like the page turned already. So you're getting these, even though it's the same 12 bars another motherfucker would fill. There's a rapidity of imagery and like style change too. Makes that shit kind of jarring. All that shit together is just like, I'm not listening.
But I think it's like what you just said, because I am a visual person. So if I hear one line, my brain's trying to make
see that
I'm building something, and if another line starts happening, I fucking malfunction. It's like
same. Yeah, I like that, but that's also the shit that like blows my mind. I was listening to man, all I listen to is old rap. Something happened with COVID, and all I could do was comfort music. So all I listen to is like 80s, 90s rap, period. You know?
Like what?
And,
how is it?
It's amazing. Some of it does not date well.
It drives her nuts because I listen to nostalgic shit all the time. And
some of it is like, like if my partner's over, I gotta mute that shit. Some of it is dark. Some of it is dark.
What do you find you've been listening to a lot?
Oh, well, recently, let's see. Loving the Nonce record. The first Nonce is great. It was like super subtle. You know, I was so into like Blowed and Madcap and like these various other more like styly dudes, but Nonce is like West Coast De La. I don't know how else to describe it, but actually on that
first Nas?
Nonce, Nonce.
So you're talking
The
about people
Nonce.
I never ever heard.
It's really good.
Yeah, we were doing Far Side, Diggable Planets.
Second Far Side is a very underrated,
The Lab
amazing
Cabin California
record.
one?
Lab Cabin
Yeah.
is a fucking classic.
Yeah.
Because that's a bunch of dudes also stripping away the posturing and just getting to themselves. And I don't know if you know, but a little history, like Fat Lip started rapping after he saw Peace freestyle.
I
And
didn't know Peace.
Peace is from Freestyle Fellowship. He's the youngest one. So he was like
Oh.
15 or 16. And then Farside had commercial success and blew up. But they saw Fellowship and began.
Yeah.
Fellowship was already Jesus P. Christ. And then, of course, Bones stole their style and all this other stuff. But it's really interesting to see how, success and other things got out. But Farside ended up being completely valid in their own right, I feel, as Lab Cabin instated them. Like, they're totally expressing themselves. The music, Dilla was like sort of born on that record. It's really cool. It's really dope. And then
I love that album because, well, Bizarre Ride was like so huge for a lot of people. But so most people, it was like people were
But
doing
it's a
this
gateway
comparison.
drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but Lab Cabin came out. No one was fucking with it. And I was like, this is like their real shit.
Oh,
Like,
it's so good, dude.
Yeah.
And like there was this thing too where like they had a curse, just like OPP and a couple other songs, Passing Me By became this song that like you shut off and you skipped. Is played out, like the way that was when marketing was hitting, at least in my era. That was how that was.
That wasn't happening in our area.
Right. You would just skip that shit. You'd be like, I can never hear that song again. I've heard it in too many fucking rooms. And
well, we were just talking about that with Blockhead last night. That's what happened for me for DJ Shadow's song that's now on that commercial.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the Fugees. Lauren, like fucking Killing Me Softly is the most skippable song in the history of
but it was
awesome
so
records.
fucking great.
Yeah.
Like,
when it came out, but then it's like Never Again, bro. Or two of those Wyclef songs. What else? I mean, for me though, I have like a really broad collection, so I'll listen to straight trash. I don't even know what was I? I got this record, The Knuckleheads, which is two like fucking Brentwood, Long Island white boys that were sort of down with the Hit Squad, which is EPMD and Redman and K Solo. And they had one single, and then I found the vinyl and I've been listening to it because it's like Eric Sermon beats. It's really bad. It's trash. I hate it, but it's great. And I'd never heard it, so I listened to that shit. I've been listening to the First Lord Finesse record, which is fucking impeccable. And Andre the Giant is like fast rapping on it. We used to make fun of him because he spells his name wrong. There's a bunch of great rap stuff like that.
What will you listen? Being that you make hip hop music, I guess, I don't know, whatever. Do you listen to hip hop still? Is it
New
something you
stuff?
still enjoy? Yeah.
Yeah, I love the old stuff more. Like I love X-Clan. I like revisiting the genius that they had before I was even rapping more than I like checking in on, I like Vince Staples and stuff. I like Arm & Hammer, fucking Elucid, all these. I love Ka. I gotta say, but he's an old man like me, so it doesn't make any, he doesn't count in an essence. I don't know, maybe he does, but because he was in Natural Elements back in the day, and Natural Elements, Company Flow, Latyrix, they were probably my biggest inspiration when I was going from Battle Crew to Music Maker. And then I don't know if you know the story. Did Dibbs tell you the story of how I met him?
No, well, I have two things on Dibs. I know you were headed somewhere.
Yeah.
The Apogee thing. How many shows did you guys play?
Oh, Jesus Christ. A lot. And
Did you
Dibs
guys-
was the funniest, brattiest fucking
He was telling me
dude.
how he was pissed that Josiah, right? Yeah. They like, he was saying like, yeah, the sound guy would fucking all about the drums. No sound guy wants to fucking give the DJ.
I know, it was really, but Dibs played along and he had fun and it was great. And that was Yoni. That was when he just played bongos in a grocery cart. He didn't even express himself with his human face. That's how that's how I met him. If you watch those 97 Scribble Jam battles with me and Eminem and Juice and all these dudes.
You fucked up, wrapping the chain around your neck and battling these next. Hey yo, that's enough of the pinnacle. The shit is linear, minus to the more cyclical, centrifugal if you
will. I'm gonna burn you down to the earth, and then we're gonna pop you a little pill and have you sedated for the rest of your life. Thought you were related, that's okay. Nah, man. See, I'm gonna stay off these money.
Yoni's in there with a dictaphone, like it's sort of like he's like on the side and he's like recording the whole thing and shit. And, but then I met him after that. This one's quick, but I'm walking on UC campus and no one knows me as Dose, even though I was constantly prostituting myself, trying to sell my demos and all this shit. So, but this dude's like, yo, Dose. And I turn around, I'm like, who the fuck is that? You know, and it's Yoni. And he's like, I saw you at Scribble Jam. My brother's a drummer. Would you want to be in a band? And this links up perfectly with the other story. Moving slightly back in time, it's my birthday. I'm turning 21, and I go to see J.Rawls the Damager opening for Laterix. Oh, I'm sorry. He was opening for Shadow, opening for J.Rawls. So it was Laterix, Shadow, J.Rawls. And this is in Cincinnati. And before I go to Cincinnati, there was this amazing graffiti and underground rap magazine called Subculture. And the only friend I still have from high school that wasn't like in a really bad space was this dude who DJ'd named Christoph. And he's like, oh shit. And I was like, I'm going to Cincinnati. My career is over. So he's like, no, there's this dude, Mr. Dibs. You got to meet him. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm just at these black frats. There's nobody knows who the fuck Mr. Dibs is. I'm there for like a year and a half. Right. So I go in and we're at Ripley's, whatever the fuck that venue was called. And I'm like, fuck this. Because Laterix, I went to that show to see Laterix. They were my favorite group. And all these dudes I met in Cincinnati are like, I don't listen to this weird shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, it's getting poo-poo. I'm like alone with my Laterix. And it is game changer. That is the, bar none, that and Funk Crusher, the future of future rap began with those records. And Octagon, if we can be honest. You know, so... anyway, I'm like, fuck this. And I kick the door down to the backstage and I sneak backstage. And then I go in and I open the fucking green room and I'm like, yo, y'all want to freestyle? And lyrics Born and Lateef are sitting there on the couch. I'm wearing like all blue camouflage and a bright orange hunting vest. Cause that's how I roll. Cause I might have to hide in some blue shit. And then, fucking Lyrics Born just looks at me. He's my favorite rapper at the time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I mean, not favorite, but yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, and he just looks at me.
Everybody's your favorite.
No, I know everyone is my favorite, but Lyrics Born's fucking guts. Yeah,
he's one of the best. Yeah, and he just looks at me and he's like, "What's up with the freestyles?" And then I freestyle for like an hour with Lateef and Lyrics Born as the little idiot that kicked in the door, right? And then I get out and I'm like, yo, man, can I get your number? Like to send you these demos? Cause I had just started recording with J.Rawls. And so I'm like, I just want feedback and I can't believe it, you know? And I leave the room and I get outside of the door, like immediately outside the door. Lateef and Lyrics Born don't even know this shit. I'm friends with both of them still, but I get outside the door and I like light a Newport right away. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Oh shit, I just did it. I did the thing, you know? And there's this fat dude looking at me. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm Dose. Who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm Dibs. And I'm like, my boy told me I was supposed to meet you. So that was how I met Dibs in this hallway after I asserted myself. And then he's like, you should come down to the radio show. And then I went down there and we just, man, became the best friends. His prank tapes, he made me laugh. Dibs made me laugh to this day.
Do you get to talk to him at all much or no?
Nah, man, we don't. We've like... we have no, there was no like knife fight.
No, sure.
Or anything, but we just, you know, don't chat. I talk to Jello all the time, but we got him. I miss him.
He was supposed to call me last night, actually, because he was like, he gave me a good story about Yoni and that I was able to bring up, but then he was like,
he used to hump Yoni on the ground. Did he tell you the one where he humped Yoni on the ground till he was screaming?
No, but he's told me some shit that like I have some crazy fucking friends and we did crazy shit, but Dibs has told me some shit that I'm like, whoa, that's
yeah,
fucking...
Dibs is crazy. Dibs is fucking crazy. Dibs used to like, Dibs is the best. His prank call, like we used to live off those prank calls and we would try to come at Dibs. One of the main Apogee recess activities was trying to come at Dibs with insults, like, you know, the dyslexic secretary and all this stuff that he would do. And then I remember one night, Yoni was really trying hard to insult him. And Dibs took a few. And then he just called him iguana vagina. And I remember like hyperventilating and crying. And then there was another night where he humped. Maybe it was Josiah that he balled up on the ground and was humping. But somebody had like, they were like, stop. It was like aggressively humping him up. And then the other thing I remember is G Fresh, who I don't know if Dibs told you about him. But he was his right-hand man, the voice on the radio in those days. Did a beat on Hemispheres. Love him. I haven't talked to him in 5 million years, but always love him. But we were hanging out outside of Waif one night, which was his radio show. And Dame One, who's a dude that's on Turntable Scientifics, he's capping on G Fresh, and G Fresh is capping on him. And then G Fresh said, "You look like somebody hit you in the head with a Lowenbrow bottle." Just like fucking pissing my pants, man. Anyway, those guys, it was the best times. I really haven't laughed like that. It's all socially unacceptable shit you get canceled for. It's all bad news, but man, whew,
but those are the ones that the reason it maybe worked was because we kept that with like, you know, with your own people. You kept those with them.
Cap'n was friendly, man. Yeah, it's like,
but now that you get out and you start using it in social media, it affects other fucking people. You know, like I
isn't
get
that
it.
the truth?
I don't jump on because I get it. I want to say some shit to some friends that we used to say, but I don't.
It's a read
anymore.
the room thing. Yeah. But there's a million people in this room, and the post is always up.
That's
so
right.
it's more like read the.
There's never a room.
It's just always there. Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
Let me hit you with the three. I have three things on the show that I definitely that are like staples of my show. If I don't do them, I feel like I didn't do a show. And then I
love this drawing, by the way.
I do. Oh yeah, and I will actually bang it. I'll get it, you know, fucking super detailed for you, you know, in a little bit. But I mean, you know, after. I was gonna show you. Hold on.
Hey, you guys are in the same room.
This is what I finished up for.
You couldn't tell by the background.
Is that Yoni's?
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
I know.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's Yoni's. All right, so three things that I'm going to hit you with. One of them is the useless knowledge is the new thing I like to put in the show. Maybe someone can use it or maybe not. It has. But so here's the useless knowledge for your episode.
Mm-hmm.
In 1897, 6 years before the Wright brothers, 6 years before their first flight, and 50 years before Roswell, a huge cigar-shaped UFO was seen in the skies in Texas. So,
whoa.
Yep, and it was first spotted in November 17th, 1896. Well, listen,
God's cigar.
The first blimp.
Yeah, he was puffing this. Well, it showed up in Sacramento.
It was the buffalo log.
It was the fucking giant buffalo log.
It was creeping through the fog, the big buffalo log.
You fucking picked Killer Priest, and Ghostface was already spitting, telling you that.
No, he's the one. He's the scripture master.
All right, and then the other thing I do on the show is a trivia. I can give you an easy question, a medium question, a hard question, or a feeling brave question.
Oh man, I kind of want easy and feeling brave. I want both.
We can do two.
Can I do two?
I'll give you two of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want the harder one first or the easy one first?
Easy, hard first. Let's do hard first.
No one's got. I'm doing feeling brave for you. That one's the hard is the fucking hard, but feeling brave is the real deal. Yeah, that's like it's like I'm.
I hope it's about Tim Dog, because then I'll know. If it's not, I'm not going to know.
This one's not a Tim Dog. I'm not even going to do this one because I can't pronounce either of the fucking answers.
Oh, that is like feeling literate.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Okay. Shit. Fuck. I don't know. All right. Here. What did John Carlos and Tommy Smith do on the winner's podium in the 1968 Olympics that made headlines across the world?
They held up their motherfucking black fist with a black glove on them.
There you go.
I guess that question was hard like 10
for
years
whites.
ago.
That aren't me. For the other whites.
Hey, well, you got that one. Fuck yeah,
hey,
awesome.
Feeling good.
And here's your easy one. Whoa, that one's too easy. Where was it fun to stay according to the Village People in 1978?
Oh, that's too easy.
At the Jewish YMCA.
I wanted to ask you this one other question. It's not one of the set things. Do you ever get insulted on social medias or ever seen negative reviews of your music anywhere? And if so, Was there ever one that was really creative?
I saw one just the other week. This is not creative.
Yeah, because
was there a creative diss about? No, but I do remember being really young and a dude coming up to me and being like, "Yo, man, I'm sorry, don't be mad at me, but I thought you were a Puerto Rican gremlin." After hearing Deep Puddle, and I was like, "All right, man, you got some shit going on, but I'm gonna take all that." I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
Did that
right.
one? That was early on.
That was
yeah.
Very
That was when
early
you're.
on.
Did that
I saw
one hurt?
one the other day though. Did it hurt? No,
Then.
that one didn't hurt. I saw one the other day that made me feel really weird. Where I was like, I found that I was very like a lot of my peers couldn't. They had to dismiss me for wearing Hawaiian shirts and being effeminate and doing art rock and not rhyming in order to consider themselves this pinnacle that I think they consider themselves. So a lot of my peers, we have a good relationship, but there was some weirdness where I was getting down talk throughout a whole time, and all that. And I think it actually just exemplified what was actually present in the hip hop listener, which is genuinely conservative. It's a young man or
yeah.
I don't really know the stats, but it feels to me like it's always been.
I know exactly what you're talking
young
about.
man driven, trying to find his thing, trying to be creative, trying to find some manhood, but also like gotta stick with these rules or I'm not doing this thing right. There's prescribed rules, there's posturing. So I was just on Twitter and it was like, did a name search and it was like, LOL, I'm laughing about the time that Doseone said Ice Cube back from when he was hard, like he can judge anyone's toughness. Now, mind you, I'm not in this like, I can bench 300 pounds right now, but I don't care. That's not what I'm in this world for. But what is ironic to me is that this gentleman actually never understood that I was regarding Ice Cube's selling out and his compromising of a golden word. So this man changed the game and was like the truest voice for a time. And then he did a movie with talking squirrels for Walt Disney or some shit. So this is what I'm referencing is not that I can physically break his neck in a fucking tussle. Sure. Actually, this dude's a fucking slouch. And I have never become a shadow of my former self. And I have never sold out. I had this opportunity to like keep that shit intact, So seeing this feedback and being like, it didn't hurt. It was just like, no matter how much energy you put into the caliber and countenance, quality of your existence, it still can, from across any digital street, be perceived as something else.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't, it's just your work, your body of work is not like a Chuck E. Cheese where across the street you can be like, that's a Chuck E. Cheese, It's not like that. It's this amorphous, expanding thing. It's all these pieces. Like you were saying, you collect all the work of the people you spend time with, and there's a bunch, and you have it. That's amazing. That's the way the world should work, is not in this piecemeal Spotify thing. Like, So we're moving away from that shit. I see it. I feel it. I think I've always been a barometer for like the swimming pool that's beside what underground hip hop fans are comfortable with underground hip hop being. Now, that said, it's all a moot point now when you have people like Mickey Blanco and Kendrick Lamar and selling millions of copies doing alt rap. But back then, it's interesting. So seeing that comment in this day and age was like, look at that.
Yeah.
Time doesn't move.
Well, I've made movies and stuff. That was where my career, that was my dream, passion. But it was too many brushes on the canvas, being a filmmaker.
It's real.
Yeah. And then my artwork took off. There's two comments out there on my movie that I wanted to share with you.
Yeah, please.
That are pretty creative. Had I have read them when I was trying to come up, they would have fucking hurt really bad. Like they would have been like, they would have, but now it's not what I do. Like I'm comfortable. So now they're funny to read. So this one says, this is a comment on IMDb on my movie. They could have used cardboard cutouts and saved money on actors' salaries.
Oh my God.
And then this is one that this guy really fucking must have hated it. He said, I feel a great achievement to sit through such boredom. I do not recommend you try to do so, but if you need something playing in the background to fall asleep to, this should do the trick. Unfortunately, I am an insomniac, so I am still awake. I will now try watching a documentary on snails, as that will hopefully entertain me way more than this movie just
Oh my God, who's this egomaniac that your reviews about him? Who's this cat? He's like, and I didn't sleep yesterday. And I also don't like nettle tea. And I'm bored still, but I'm awake. It's like a thank you from me.
I don't know. That's like, for me, now when I read them, I'm like, truthfully, 100%, that does not hurt me at all.
Yeah.
Because I know where my faults were in the movie that I made. He probably not wrong. It was harsh, but he's probably not wrong.
He probably is an insomniac.
Well, man, since you're a one nomenclature, a dose one, I'm going to throw 3 final Sophie's choice, and then we'll wrap it.
Let's do it.
KRS-One or Spice-One?
Oh, shit. I got hang-ups with both of them. I'm going to have to go with KRS-One over Spice-One.
Okay. 21 Savage or 21 Pilots?
Oh, my God. 21-year-old. I don't know. Drinking and driving. Anything except either of those. I guess 21 Savage is technically a great rap name. So I think I'm going to go with that.
I don't know much of his music, but yeah.
21 Savage, though, is like post rap name.
Yeah. Well, here's one that doesn't end. It doesn't sound one, but they both end with ONE. It's probably an easy one, but
Simone.
No, not Simone. This one, I'll tell you the story about when I give you the 2 names. AC Alone or Post Malone?
Oh, God. AC Alone. Shitting on Post Malone's chest. That's what I want. Post Malone is such a joke. He has a disc room tattoo on his face. I can't believe, when I see Post Malone, I am just like, are they going to lower the hoop in the NBA? Like, what the fuck is next? Are books going to be
read to you?
Pictures? What's happening here? What's happening? I can't believe it.
Before I knew who he was, I was a young kid. I thought that it was Ace Y'all One. I didn't know how to. And then I used to produce a TV show in Utah, and we long time ago he was like playing with De La Soul, and we got to talk to him, and I was calling out. I was yelling over to him, like I was like, Ace, y'all won. I know he doesn't remember that, but fuck, man, how embarrassing.
Times. Yeah, no, that's what you got to do. Yeah, no, AC's fucking G, man. Book of Human Language, Balls Don't Bounce, everything on Fellowship. Yeah, fucking spit master.
Here's the way I end the discussion before I ask for things to promote. I do it with a final philosophical question. So here's your philosophical question to close out the session. Where is the line between insanity and creativity?
Oh. Honestly, I think insanity involves to me, some form of harm. I think I've been creative my whole life. I don't think I've ever been insane. Insanity, actually, that shit is fucked up that we're saying there's a line between those two things. Yeah. Insane is something very few people are. Creative is something everyone is. So I actually don't know if they have a sand line you can fucking cross. You're either sick being creative or you're fucking creative. But no, I think there's a thing about insanity that rots stuff. Insanity's...
But don't creatives eventually, like a lot of really, really
Kanye
fucking
West. Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about?
Rotting themselves. Yeah, but I mean, there's a. I don't. I
don't think that. I think that creativity enables insanity. I actually don't think they're fucking connected. I think they're on different floors in a building. If you dare get insane after creativity being your chariot to the sun, you got another thing coming. I fucking hate those people.
Yeah.
It's worse. It's worse than just having your daddy's money. You're actually going from the light to the dark. And, whether that's fucking NFTs or like Christ, whatever the fuck is getting you there, I don't even know. But that shit is like, it's cool. I tell you what, I'm going to circle back on all that debt stuff. I hope there's hell for artists because I'm going to have a really nice little pad and I can throw rocks at Kanye and fucking whoever else. They'll be down there.
You're throwing him right here while we're on.
Come on, man, let's go. I'm not having it. The only thing you should be, if you're that rich, is a philanthropist. You should not be an idiot. You could pay for smart.
I think a lot of. I'll throw an opinion. I never actually put in on when I do the philosophical question because I'm impressionable. I like when someone says something like, "Oh yeah, I like that." I think a lot of it has to do with the people you surround yourself with, and if you don't have somebody fucking smacking you around saying, "Bro, you are fucking amazing and dope," but you need to reel that shit back in, and then you're in trouble.
So it actually goes like with all the dumb sayings in the universe, the way it's set, it's actually creativity and then they're like genius and insanity, and I actually think that like, I think the uppercase G should be reserved. I actually think that if you have worked at stuff, that is a word you don't use lightly. I'll say I'm a mechanic of sounds all day, but I will not say, like craft, artist, genius, some other shit, So I think that, and then genius, insanity, let's not even fucking do that. You're actually just like, I think you're onto something. I think it's people and like, something about switching your emotional, mental, spiritual entire life diet. So you get like Grimes, I don't really know the woman, but there's a point where you just were all these things and you can swap them out. And were you those things if they're swappable? That's deep plumbing. That's true plumbing. You got true plumbing as an artist and creative, maybe genius level plumbing. We don't know. But when you show up with that nanny boo boo fucking insanity plumbing and stuff, like, did you have that plumbing? Because I don't know. I actually, I think that plumbing actually prevents you from that. So I wonder about that leap, how you end up on the other side of good. But Kanye's the thing where everybody's always telling you he's still a genius.
Yeah. Well, here's something that we definitely learned. Dose doesn't think in bumper stickers or memes. He's gonna take you he'll give you the score.
I fucks with a cat meme though.
Yeah, you do.
I'll listen to it, whatever it says.
You said something about calling yourself a mechanic of sound. I relate to that heavily. I always hated when people called me an artist. I get now that I'm referred to an artist, so for the sake of like when someone's having a discussion with me, I'll take it. But I've always considered myself an engineer of ideas and things that put together. Artists felt so fucking like pompous to me or something. Or like why would I like, I'm an artist? I don't know.
It's a new title because before that I was like a shithead and a delinquent and other things. You know what I mean? And like I'm an artist. I am artistic, I think, if anything.
I'm cool with I'm comfortable with saying that.
It's tough though. I mean,
labels.
And it's really all that amounts to is what you say to like people that sit next to you on airplanes. That's like the only time you really need to say that stuff. So like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, I draw cats on DogHawks.
I cook rhino assholes. What's in the future for you? What should people know about what can we share with the audience?
Oh man, first of all, you guys should treat each other with some kindness and push each other to be more creative. You should be hard on each other, but also forgiving about the ways that you like already sucked when you arrived here, prior sucking. Let your people have that, work them through it. For me personally, doing a bunch of physical EPs that are going to be physical only, and they're going to be things that I have never done, that I've always wanted to do, that I was just holding myself back for no good reason. And then I'm going to do something I've always wanted to do, which is make like a crusty SP record that pays homage to my favorite form of music, which is 90s rap. And then I have a shitload of video games coming out, but all of them are top secret and NDA right now, except Samurai Gun 2, which is out right now. You kill people, play with little samurais, kick-ass beats. And yeah, I mean,
what's the preferred method for people to engage with you or engage with anything that you're putting out?
My Twitter is Dose1. I'm verified. On Instagram, I'm not. I'm street trash, but I'm Dose1 Grams. You can come check me out. It is me. And then Face Space, if you're into the Illuminati, you can go check me there. I have some handle I don't memorize and really don't care about. If you find it, good luck. Yeah, and really, my art speaks for me. When it's done, it goes up and I announce it. But for me, my stories are my cats. And I actually, when I'm in rooms with people, I'll be my genuine self. But for me, social media is a place where I just, respond, react.
Yeah.
So it's like don't expect me to like shuffle anytime soon. I had to ask my partner. I was like, what is this thing? She's like, what? And so I started doing it because I used to do the running man so I can shuffle. And so she was like, it's shuffling.
Well, and I'll put this in here for you since we can tell that social media is your thing. Check out Dose1 on TikTok.
Let's go. I'm there, lip syncing.
Man, it was such an awesome pleasure to have you on. It will be one of the. We wrapped on. I could listen to you all day. I hope that we'll be able to. Continue some sort of listen.
Yes.
I'm not putting it out there to make pressure on it, but I've enjoyed my friendship that that's been built between me and Dibs. I really enjoy having a discussion with him, and I know he enjoys it because he calls me often, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you as a creative.
Yeah. Same to you. And like, I've done a lot of these sort of things. This was truly enjoyable. I feel entirely present. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Ty.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a good thing. And I just love that you're doing this. I love seeing all the people you're inviting, and you're offering more than the surface, which means like access to other artists. It's what you should do with your platform. And also it's all you and feeds in. It's great, man. I'm all about it.
That's the goal of it. I'm glad that you recognize it as that.
100%.
I want to share. I want to share all you guys who make creative and have made me a better creative. I think people should be.
Well, it'll work on them. You know, you ain't selling no snake oil. Like that's you're actually introducing.
I do have go to artbytype.com for some snake oil that I'm selling.
Imagine snake oil. What the fuck was happening before the internet? I'm glad the internet's here. That shit was treacherous. You want to be in the town square buying snake oil with nowhere to check Google.
Well, you can buy all kinds of worse shit online now,
what kind of snake? It's got to be a good snake. You can't just buy bad snake oil.
Like, no garden snake oil. We're talking cobra shit. All right, brother. It was awesome talking with you.
Yeah, absolute
Have a good
pleasure,
rest
y'all.
of your night. All right, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Naturally, the bird wolf attacked and rightfully ate my face. I've never felt so unsafe, so I railed for a while by the deep unlit of this bottomless pit. Blood all over my shit till I know.
So there you go. There's Dose of another episode where I was expressing some of my own opinions based on someone else spilling out their opinions.
Go ahead.
No, that was awesome.
Not to go back to Rick Rubin again. But when I have listened to his Broken Record podcast, and I think he is good, and he's smart, and he's a treasure trove of information from his time, from what he's worked on and this and that. But I feel that Dose one is the same, because I'm like, who are these people?
Yeah, when Dose is a treasure trove of that time. He had
for that time and that place.
Yeah,
and I'm sure beyond, but from what I picked up,
he knows what. Yeah, he was around.
I'm super forgetful. I would be like, you remember that one guy? I think he was wearing yellow.
What about if we were telling? Like, what about if the shoe was on the other foot and we were on a show and people were asking us about the art festivals or like other artists or like a certain time that we were from.
Do you remember everyone's name? And we don't really get out there very much.
That's true. We're not. Yep, you're right. We don't.
But we're just a family.
Yeah.
Surviving out
there. So think of it on that level. Now you would be able to, if we were like doing a discussion with somebody and we were recalling moments with our family and things that happened, you would be able to recall a significant part of that, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that's how much he enjoyed the time. I had a question there I wanted to ask him if he felt fondly about. I had a lot of questions that I was going to ask that he had already answered, so there was no reason to.
I wanted to know if he developed his voice in like similar to Tom Waits or something, because it is his voice. It does seem natural, but it also seems
I think
not natural, but it seems like it's just so different. You wonder that if you had to, like help that.
I think people they describe it as nasally.
Did you notice that he looked like he could have been Mark Wahlberg's brother?
No, I don't think he'd be the type to like that either.
Why would people like Mark Wahlberg?
Well, I don't know why he doesn't like Adam Driver, and I don't know why anyone wouldn't like him. But that was funny.
A lot of ladies think Marky Mark is hot.
I don't think he cares much about that stuff. No, I was I guess so. Maybe he doesn't want to hear that though, because it kind of does.
No, he looks like he could be a Wahlberg.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know what Donnie looks like. Whoops, I just spit. Oh,
Donnie is married to Jenny.
It's not looking so good right there.
Adrian.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
We don't judge people. Just kidding.
He looks like he could be Mark Wahlberg's brother.
Well, I know this.
And I think that's a compliment.
Of course, yeah, you do. Yeah, no one. I don't know how many times I've told you no one wants to be compared to anybody.
I wasn't comparing.
I know, but you just said he could like looks like or could. No, I think you're fine. I don't know.
I don't know. He has a problem.
You're saying a compliment.
What was mine?
Don't say it. You just barely put it back on your phone.
Yeah, I'm taking it off, but
he doesn't have a problem. Why are you trying to fucking drop him your number? You just said he's like hot like Mark Wahlberg, and now you're trying to drop him here. You never give out your information.
Well, I won't friend anybody, but I was just saying if he has a problem with it.
No, I really enjoyed talking to him. That was a nice conversation, and sometimes I get caught up like, I have these questions I want to ask, but like if people have great information, then I'm good to just to take it. And he had a lot of stuff that he could speak knowledgeably about. I liked it. He seems like the type that would be open to, if you really wanted to hear some stories, like some backstage stories, some behind the scenes kind of stories, he'd be the one to get, because there'd be some, like our friend Johnny, like when he tells a story, there'd be some like girth into the story instead. Yeah. I would like to. I hope some point when I'm out and about, I'll be able to like chat with him in person, maybe even with Dibs there, and just hear them talk about some shit that would be fun to hear. But so there you go. There's Dose. There's a lot to be said. If you're a Kanye fan, don't take that to heart. If you're a Adam Driver fan, don't take that to heart. if you're
It's fine.
of course if you're a Post Malone fan, if you're a Post Malone fan, just think of this. Just think of this. This may fix anything that was said about him. Just picture AC alone taking a shit on his chest.
AC alone. Is that what he said?
He wasn't saying AC alone, but he did. That's who I put the two up. That's who the Sophie's choice was, AC alone and Post Malone. Anyway,
that one went over my head.
Yeah, it was all funny. I was just enjoying it. So there you go. What do we want to wrap with? Hit up artbyty.com. Dos already expressed all the places that you should hit up his things. I really liked some of his views on, or his points on the Spotify and the music industry and the NFTs and
lots of stuff.
Yeah, lots of stuff that you learned, and you can either agree or disagree. But that's the great thing now. But nowadays, with everything so polarized, someone can't have a different opinion than you. All of a sudden, people get so pissed off.
It's only that they have the voice to do so. Without
Maybe
social media.
There's a ton of tribalism right now, though.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, check us out, artbyty.com. Check Doseone out and all of his places that you can find him at. And check Adrian out at blank if you have any.
I can't remember what my Instagram
It doesn't matter. You don't even want to. It's basically like following me on Twitter.
Well, it doesn't matter because I'm private.
Right. And my Twitter's basically private. All right, everybody.
Leave a comment.
Yeah. What comments are leaving?
Well, if you have a question for us or a suggestion or I don't know.
If you have a creative, clever diss.
If you think artists should be called artists.
Go ahead and leave
engineers.
That there.
Engineers and what was the other
Engineers and mechanics.
Okay. I think that's good, right? Go to artbyty.com if you want to support Ty's work.
And if you want to go back and watch the Kipto episode, that's whose shirt I'm wearing today. Our chat with Kipto is a past episode. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching DOD 45 with Art by Ty. That's me, Ty, and Adrian.
Bye.
Peace. Cheers. Oh, I'm looking at the
DOD 45.
Thank you for joining in on yet another episode of DOD 45. Please hit the subscribe or follow button so that you never miss an episode. You can even go one step further by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts to help other interesting people like yourself find our podcast. You can find me at Art by Ty on all the socials or at artbyty.com. If you'd like to follow this podcast on social media, we are at DOD45W on Instagram, or you can go over to our website, DOD45.com, where you can shoot us an email, join our mailing list, and watch all of our past episodes. Thanks for joining us. Peace.